Hey, shh. Calm down. The show is about to start. Reese on the radio. Turn it up. Turn it up loud. Turn it up loud.
It's like a dream come true.
Turn on your radio. Reese is on the radio.
Yo, let's get it.
Due to the nature of this program, discretion does not exist. It's Reese on the radio. Right now on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Let's go Friday. Woo! Hey now. What's going on, all you scallywags out there? Nutmeggers across the fruited plain. It's the last day of the week. And it's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080. I've become so accustomed to that. I went to go see the Panics, was it a week ago, a little more than a week ago? Wow, it's been 2 weeks now that I think about it. And when they performed that song, Holding Up the Wall, which is so appropriate for this show, talking about how politicians aren't doing anything, just holding up the wall. Go check them out, the Panics, P-A-N-I-X, the Panics, official theme song of Reese on the radio. When I went to go check them out, they played the song live. Boy, they sound good live. Damn, they sound good live. But after they finished the song, I said to them, damn, that sounds like my theme song. I love the sound of it. It gets me hyped. And it's always a pleasure to play them, and I play them, and I'm very, very happy that they allowed me to make them my official theme music. It's Friday. I'm going to be in town on Monday. I'm going to be there all week. I've got plenty of stuff planned, so many people to see, so many people to talk to. Again, I extend that invitation to African Americans across the Nutmeg State. You know, if you want to break bread with Reese on the radio, get in touch with me. You know, I think that a summit should be had. Much like the one happening in Alaska in a little bit between Vladimir Putin and President Trump. I think we need to understand each other. More so you understanding me. I've understood the black community for far too long, but I think they need to understand me and what I'm trying to accomplish, because I am trying to accomplish something. And that is probably more so trying to get them off the teat that is the Democrat Party. They failed them for far too long. Since the days of FDR, where the shift happened. People don't know that. The shift of African Americans from Republicans to the Democrat Party is FDR. With the so-called New Deal that was still discriminatory against African Americans. They don't play that. They were willing to take scraps and, of course, handouts from so-called leaders. But I digress. I don't want to get into that today. I can get into that at another time. We're taking your phone calls today. I know it's after the birthday. People wanted to call in and say happy birthday to me personally. They probably will call in. I see someone calling in now. I know who didn't get a chance yesterday, too. We'll give them that opportunity. But I was thinking about something. And Friday, I usually don't do an opening monologue. I like to have it free-flowing. Myself and Roland will usually chat about something coming up. He'll have a bowling tournament. Maybe the daughter will have a dance recital. I'll see something on television that we talk about. But today, something happened. And I will go back in memory sometimes and remember a show or a phone call that either irritated me or made me think. This particular phone call was a little bit of both. It made me think and it irritated me. What was that about? Well, the phone call of the individual months ago was about, I don't really care about your show. I just listen for traffic and weather. All you do is divide people, blah, 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 blah. I just listen for traffic and weather. And for some odd reason, that phone call popped into my head today. As I was watching the regular news, everyone keeps talking about how the Democrats lost the working class. And maybe it's this nerd gum that my wife laughs at me about for taking, but my brain started to work in a weird way. As I was listening to someone talking about how Democrats lost the working class, I remembered this phone call about the guy who said, I just listen for traffic and weather. And I said, you know, traffic and weather is a good starting point to realize how the left lost the working class. Can I explain? Of course I can. I started writing this stuff down, and it's going to be my Sunday piece on my Substack that I do every week. You can find it in the Connecticut Sentinel this weekend as well. And I haven't posted it yet. The draft is there, ready to go, and I'm going to post it as soon as I get on my flight for you to read it. And here's what I wrote. The difference between the left and the right. The working class cares about weather and traffic for different reasons than the left. It's why they don't identify with them anymore. The working class and traffic. People who care about traffic working class folks, they care about traffic because they have responsibilities and places to be. A job, the kids' schools, appointments, meetings, kids' activities like baseball, soccer, dance recitals, piano lessons. All of these things are instrumental to improving their quality of life. They do. They do all of those things to make life better for their children. Perhaps their children will find a career or make lifestyle choices based upon those things that those parents do. Traffic is instrumental in that. The reason why they check in with Mark Christopher throughout the day on the 8s to find out traffic is because it is instrumental in their lives for all of those reasons. Getting to appointments, making sure they're going to get to work on time. You might have a mother who's got to drive the kids to school and then get to her job. And she's concerned about the traffic so she can get there. And why is she doing those things? Because there are sacrifices she has to make in order to have a family, to build a better life. That's the working class. Working class dad's the same thing. Will he be able, if he's an independent worker, like if he owns his own company, is he going to be able to get from this job to that job? How is traffic going to play a role in that? Truck drivers too. Delivery drivers, UPS, FedEx, all of them. Traffic is important to working class people because sometimes if traffic is going to hold them up, it could cost them hundreds of dollars. I did some research, and it turns out that every year, traffic can cost Americans up to $160 billion in losses. That's the working class. Weather is the same thing. The working class cares about weather for some of the same reasons I just discussed about traffic, but rain, snow, wind, they all play contributing factors. What about cancellations to sporting events? What about snow days during the school year where parents have to make the decision between staying home, getting a babysitter, daycare? That's going to cost them money. It may cost them a day in wages. The weather is important. It is a fabric of working class folks every day. It's how they get around, it's how they maneuver, and it's how some of them, it measures in their wallets and their pocketbooks. That's why it's important to them. Can you imagine a single mom, hell, even a household where the two parents are there and they don't make a crap load of money? And one of them may have to take a day off from work in order to stay home with the kids because they don't have adequate child care. Or their kids are so old, they're in grade school, but the school's closed. What are the kids going to do? You can't leave them at home. Not by themselves. Not unless you don't want to visit from child welfare. But anyway, that's another story. So what do working class parents do? Well, of course, they check out Bob Cox, Jason Catarinas, and sometimes even Tom O'Hanlon for weather right here on this station. It's important to them, as that caller said to me some months ago. But now I want you to look at the left as it pertains to traffic and weather and all of those things. Traffic is pollution to the left, and weather is climate change. The pollution that you cause contributes to climate change, and the effort to reduce those things, they have to reduce the working class. They have to get you off the roads. So you're attacked. Oh, and you remember that thing that you're fighting so hard for, to live a better life, to buy a home, maybe to live in a better neighborhood? Maybe your kid is in some sports or whatever, extracurricular activity. What does the left tell you about those things? They call you privileged, don't they? They started teaching children in class that all of those things that you have bust your hump to give to your children is now somehow a detriment to our society, our broader society. The left has decided to make your kids feel guilty about the things that you've been busting your hump to give them. Haven't they? Everything that I just described that you go through is an antithesis of the left. They hate it. The more you try to achieve, the more they complain about equity. Don't they? Why do you think they celebrate universal incomes? Why do they think they consider anyone who's trying to get a leg up or make more money for themselves? The more money you make, the more money you need to be taxed. They are punishing wealth and your effort to obtain it. Remember Barack Obama? After a while, how much money can you have? Remember your private business that employs over 60% of Americans? Elizabeth Warren said you didn't build that. The left said that they built it. Why? They built it with paving the roads, even though you paid the taxes to do that. They said that they built it because they educated the people to work inside your businesses. Not that you paid taxes so that they can go to school for free. You played no role in that. You didn't build it. So, of course, they lost the working class. But in my view, this wasn't a loss for them. They rejected them. They reject the working class. You are the enemy. So when you hear these guys running around talking about, oh, we need to obtain the working class again. How? You can't do two things at once. How can you possibly tell a group of people you don't like, you despise, that you want them back in your folds? Working class moms and dads with kids entertain their kids' desire to compete in sports. A growing number over the last 30 years in that space have been girls in sports. How did the left reward them? By taking away opportunities from them. What did they do? They told biological boys that they could compete against biological girls. The growing number of girls who entered the sports realm were now faced with a competition they could not beat. Working class mom and dads, especially moms, were told to shut up, be quiet, or else we will cancel you. They were threatened. with rejection, removal from polite society, should they stand up for their little girls. Those are working class folks. How could they possibly get them back? That without asking them to adhere, to bow down to them, that's not accepting of them. That's tyranny. How are you going to win that back without tyranny? How about working class families' morals and ideals that they teach their kids as they're raised in the house before they join the public school system? Pray to God, love your neighbor, share, be friends. To go into a school system that tells the parents what you taught them means nothing. We're here to teach them that genders don't exist. We're here to introduce them to pornographic books. And if you dare fight us, we'll sick the federal and the local government after you. And they have. You've seen it. Working class families go to churches, don't they? But they've denounced God. They've denounced Jesus Christ. They've accepted Satanism. Working class families, 90% of them believe in God. And I'm not saying just the Christian or Catholic one. I'm talking about Judeo, Islam, 90%. All of them working class believe in a God. The left has denounced them. There is no losing the working class. They beat them down and told them, get out of here. And everybody knows it. So when the left talks this junk about how they're going to win them back, they can't. Because they have to reject everything I just laid out. And how could they possibly do that while they're having a difficult time expressing their dismay with Zoran Mamdani or Rajosh Elliott or the progressive wing of their party that they're too afraid to push back on? How could they possibly choose the working class when they can't even admonish, they can't even reject the ideals of progressive leftists who wish to do the things that I just displayed? That is who they are. They hate the working class. Ask any progressive. I didn't even get into the kids. Most working class families are families who have children. How could you love the working class families while you abort children for overpopulation and population control? You can't do both. When we come back, I'll tell you a couple of more examples. Whoever thought that it would be as simple as checking traffic and weather to find out where Democrats lost the working class? Leave it to me. It's Reese on the radio. We'll be back. It's WTIC, News Talk 1080. We're back. It's Reese on the radio. And the article that I'm writing for my Substack, which is pretty much how did the left lose the working class? We checked traffic and weather, which I thought was kind of smart on my part. One of the things that it's in the article that I wanted to read was this paragraph here. Proof of its abandonment, talking about the left. Proof of its abandonment lies on how the left has attacked the working class family at every turn. Working class Americans are predominantly parents striving to give their children opportunities they never had. Better education, stable homes, extracurriculars that build character. Yet progressives have introduced concepts like privilege, into schools shaming kids from modest backgrounds for the fruits of their parents' labor. Curricula across the nation, including the progressive-led states, teach that family success is inherently unfair, fostering guilt rather than gratitude. This extends to gender norms. Boys are labeled too masculine, discouraged from traits like competitiveness that working-class dads instill for resilience in tough jobs. Girls are pushed to compete against boys in sports, often under the banner of inclusion, disregarding fairness and safety concerns that resonate with protective parents. All of that is a fabric of it. So, you hear these people on the left tiptoeing around that when talking about how they lost the working class families. You hear them talk about identity politics. It's not identity politics. When you frame it that way, you paint the working class as bigots. When people talk about it, right? You keep talking about, it's like, oh, they abandoned the working class because they're so worried about he, she, him, non-gender pronouns. People have a defense to that. They go, see, because they're bigoted. No, it's not that simple. It's not about prioritizing transgenders or gays or LGBTQ. No. You can't talk about inclusion and only talk about one group. You see, what I'm saying is that you want me to include transgender kids, LGBTQ kids, confused kids, gender ideology kids, whatever. You want me to include them? Great. Include these kids. Include the other kids. The kids who are none of those things. Now, if you've missed that, if you listened to this show and missed it, I'm going to say it again. I'll go back to the women's movement. Gloria Steinem, Jane Fonda, and the like. They told us, they warned us that it was going to be the thing that it was not. Gloria Steinem and Jane Fonda, all they talked about was, we want to make it fair. If men can be CEOs, we want women to be CEOs. If men can make six-figure salaries, we want women to make six-figure salaries. And many people believe that. You know what? Fair is fair. A la Billie Jean. Fair is fair. Let's make it fair. And when it didn't happen quick enough, then the belittling, the marginalizing, the insults, they began. The reason why it's not happening fast enough is because men are misogynist, because men are macho, because men hate women. Men had no say-so. We couldn't even say anything. We were trying to do what? We were trying to make it fair. And demonizing men, what did they do? Men immediately wanted to acquiesce. You know what? You're right. I apologize. We'll work more. We just kept giving in, kept giving in. And as long as they're demonizing you, you'll keep giving in. But it's never enough, because when it comes to progressivism, it is never enough. Progressivism has no end. It is not finite. They progress for the sake of progressing into something new. Sorry, folks, it's a fungus. If you let it grow, it will continue. Let's call it the hydrilla of society. You're never going to get rid of it. But truth be told, that's what happened with the women's movement. And it's happening now with the working class. Before, it was just men doing what they always do, making ends meet. In fact, fulfilling the dreams of any American, making such good salaries that women could stay home and take care of the children. But that was bad. June Cleaver became mockery. Look at her, baking cakes and pies for her man who treats her like she's nothing and belittles her. Poor June Cleaver. By the way, I love that woman. What guy wouldn't? progressives. They look at a woman like June Cleaver and say that she's to be demonized. What was wrong with that woman? I mean, somebody explain that to me. I'd love someone to explain it to me. What was wrong with her? Again? What was wrong with the apron wearing? What was wrong with the bacon? And no offense, look at the girls you got now. OnlyFans. Anyone? Huh? Yeah, that's what I thought. Anyway, and now that's just moved on to progressivism in other places. The working class was next. It went from men to everybody, moms and dads alike. They wanted mothers to join the workforce. And now mothers join the workforce and give their children, which is, again, innate in every parent, give their kids a better life. And even that's a bad idea now. You can't win for losing. Think about it. Didn't they drag you from the kitchens, ladies? Didn't they grab you from the bacon and the pie making and all that stuff? Didn't they drag you from there and say, join the workforce? What did they want you to join the workforce for? What did they want you to have careers for? Was it for you not to have children? Was it for you not to have a better life? Think about all of that. All of the things they told you that you could do, and you could have it all. You could have a family. You could have a career. You could have a Mercedes-Benz. You could have a corner office. And you did it all, only for the progressives to turn around and say, no. Now you're a privileged white woman. Evil. If you're confused, it's because you should be. I'm sorry, but they didn't lose the working class. The working class became the enemy. They are the enemy of everything that is progressive. Work is bad. It is. Work is bad. Why? Because you get paid. And when you get paid, what do you do with that money? You buy things. And you buy things that other people can't buy. So we need to strip you of that. You should only be allowed to make this amount of money. What happened to I can have it all? Well, you can have a little bit. You can survive on nothing. Haven't you ever asked yourself what happened? Has no one asked themselves what happened? I'm trying to figure out how they explain it to the most vulnerable. And for the sake of argument, let's bring a little bit of race into it. The one thing the civil rights movement taught us and continues to teach us today is that blacks and browns and minorities in this country cannot achieve the same greatness as their white counterparts. They are financially like centuries behind their white counterparts. The whole idea was to make opportunities for those folks to ascend to the ranks of their counterparts. And now the progressives have said, sorry, Tyrone. You're only allowed this amount of money, and everybody's going to have the same. What? I'm sorry, but I didn't sign up for this, ma'am. Well, you want to make the world a better place now, don't you? Well, sure, I'd love to make the world a better place. I'd like to make it better for my kids. I'd like to give them an opportunity they never had before, but that's okay. Don't worry, sweetie. They're only going to reach this level, and everybody's going to have the same thing. That's what's going to happen. And that's what you brought. So don't ask yourself this silly question about what happened between Democrats and the working class. It's over. Donald says, Reese, women had to go to work because one paycheck per household was not cutting it. The days of daddy-only paychecks is a thing of the past. Donald, poor you. You must be new here to America. That's not what happened, sir. That's not what happened at all. And if you missed that movement, that's okay. That's what I'm here for. We're going to take a break. We'll come back. We'll take some phone calls as well. My article coming out on Sunday, how the left lost the working class. We'll talk about that and much, much more. We got Rozan in the house. We'll talk to her, and we'll talk about my trip coming up, being in town. I don't think we have a place on where we're going to meet. Roland is still working on me getting to see the Silver Sun pickup, so I'll talk about that too, see if we get anywhere. Hopefully we do. Anyway, stick around. More news, more views when we return. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Yeah, the idea that two-income households were a fabric at the same time of women in the workforce, you obviously have no understanding of history. Gloria Steinem joined the scene in the late 50s and the early 60s. The two-income household phenomenon began in the excess of the 80s, the me generation. And women did not join the workforce because they needed two paychecks. It was because it was fashionable to have two. The year of the excess. Oh, we can have two incomes in the house? People were buying homes at a higher rate in the 80s. All facets of life. And, of course, through two-parent households. There used to be a time in our history, people forget this, that families that were beginning started off living in their in-laws' homes. They would live in the mother of the bride's home or the mother of the groom's home. They would build a nest egg where they would then probably borrow from their family members and get their first home. And this was across different socioeconomic and racial groups. People could afford homes. You should read some history on this in some of the black neighborhoods where people owned their own homes in the 1960s. Chicago, and everywhere in the Midwest was rampant with that. But the excess of the 80s, people needing more things to buy. And we already had women in the workforce in the 1970s, a growing number of women joining the workforce in the 1970s, joining politics and everything else, local and national. It was a resurgence, if you will, of ways to be economically beneficial to your lives of the 80s. It wasn't a product of poverty or the high cost of living. It's a product of excess. Trust me, I know, because I lived through it as a kid. So don't conflate the two. Know your history. We were all there, those of us who are old enough to remember. Some people had to have two households, totally get it, but that's not what we're talking about, not the outliers. Let's go to Tony in Rocky Hill. How are you, Tony?
All right. I think you're wrong, Reese. I know you're wrong in what you just said.
Tell me.
I have the economic background, the finance background to prove you're wrong. The reason there's a necessity for two workers within a household.
There is? Did you say there is?
There is. And
okay, we're not talking about what is.
Let me finish.
Tony, no. No, Tony, you can't finish because I'm not talking about. I'll tell you. Be quiet and I'll answer you. There is means present tense. I am not talking about present tense. I said the 80s, the 70s, and the 60s is what I'm talking about. You were talking about present tense, which, again, you can't.
I'm talking about
no,
the
Tony,
last 60
you are
years.
not talking about anything.
No, you don't know what you're talking about.
So
You're
now,
talking.
talk about the 70s and the 80s, or just hang up. Thanks. Your knee-jerk reaction to prove me wrong proves exactly what type of individual you are. You're not listening. And if you were paying attention, which you're not, that is the usual tactics of individuals. They're not working on trying to have a conversation. They're sitting there, waiting, rocking back and forth like some psychopath. I'm going to call him, and I'm going to prove him wrong. No one's talking about today. I'm not even talking about the past 20 years. The statement was, and I'll read it again. And Tony, if you want to call back to address what I was talking about, then you'll understand. I talked about progressivism that told women that they could join the workforce, that told them that they could have it all, told them that they can make the same money that men made. Donald started talking about the need for two income households. There wasn't a need unless there was a need, but that wasn't the general placement. Most people joined careers or became career-oriented because that was the zeitgeist at the time. Most suburban families had two income households, not out of necessity, not even out of need. It was normal. And in a world of excess, you could buy homes faster. You could buy nicer cars. Why was it called the me generation of the 1980s? Why did we see wealth boom in the way in which it did during the 1980s? Why did we see income rises or household income rises? Because it became normal for both parents to be at work. How did we get the advent of latchkey kids? Kids who came home, who were preteens and teenagers, who had a key to the door and could make their own lunches and take care of themselves as their parents came home. This was a part of suburban lifestyle. People who owned their homes. You're going to suggest those people were poor? Huh? Living in the suburbs, owning their own home? Who were going on vacations with disposable incomes? How did those things become a fabric of life? And I'll even use the culture. What was one of the most successful comedies during the 80s growing up? Anyone? Anyone? I'll give you a hint. Chevy Chase? Huh? Vacation. Vacation movies were very big in the 80s. It was a part of suburban culture. And why could families do it? Because they had two income households. Please stop talking to me like I wasn't there. I was born at night, not last night. You're not smarter than me, okay? Stop trying. I told you, I come in here fully loaded, guns a-blazing. If I don't know what I'm talking about, I'd rather shut up about it. But stop. We got to take a break. It's time to get to the WTIC newsroom. I hate feeling insulted. Please don't. WTIC newsroom. John Silva's back.
Nope.
Oh, no, we got Dave Mager. Sorry, Dave. Hey, man. I'm sorry about that, buddy. Anyway, Dave Mager's in for John Silva in the WTIC newsroom. We'll be back. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Reese on the radio, making sense of the news. Yeah, even when it makes no sense at all. Now on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Hey, we are back. Reese on the radio, WTIC. It's Friday. And we got Rozan coming up in a little bit. Rozan on the radio. My beautiful wife will be joining me. We got plenty of stuff to talk about. We'll talk about this with her, too. She had an interesting childhood as well. Growing up in the 80s, she was relatively younger, but her family was military. Her biological dad and her stepdad, both military. And she lived in a lot of places during the 80s. So I want to talk to her a little bit about this conversation as far as working class families go. And and people are saying, like, having lost the working class. I'm just looking at this from the perspective that's provable here, and that is the rejection. And I put it in an article that's going to come out on Sunday on my Substack. Of course, you'll find it at the Connecticut Sentinel as well, so look out for that. And if you are already subscribed, you will get it immediately in your email. And if you'd like to, go to reeseontheradio.com. That's REESE on the radio.com, so that you can subscribe and you'll get it immediately when it posts. All right, and with that, let's go to Mike in Colebrook. Hello, Mike. How are you? You with Reese on the radio?
Hey, Reese, I've been listening to you quite a while.
Okay.
WTIC and all. But I was just talking with my girlfriend. We're not married.
Okay.
But I'm 59. She's 57.
Okay.
About 7 or 8 years ago, She bought a house. I've given her a lot of help and a lot of repairs. I've got my own house with 8 acres.
Wow.
And we are making it.
So
I don't know why anybody else has that big problem to be able to buy a house. Right now, I know, but it's kind of skewed and it's going to pop.
Well, wait a minute. Let me talk about that a little bit. And by the way, that is a rooster in the background. He is going off. What?
He's doing his job. There's a little fox been running around.
Oh, okay. Well, that aside, let me explain. Let me ask you this, because I'm maybe this will sort of contribute to my question, or at least something that I'm interested in. So, is there anything about your location that is beneficial to house owning where you're located?
Yeah, we're out on the outside of town.
Right.
Both places. I'm about 7 miles away.
Okay.
And I'm pretty much in the southern Berkshire mountain range.
Okay.
And
so home purchases compared to what you'd see in a town like, I don't know, Bristol, just to throw a name out there. Home prices would be in what percentage? Would you pay half of what you'd pay in a town like Bristol, or far more?
I usually just hold my breath when I go through Bristol, but a home sold just next door to me.
Okay.
Just a couple of months ago, and it sold for $380,000, and it's a 3,000 square foot house.
Okay, now 3,000 square foot house, I like that. I lived in that in Fort Lee, New Jersey. The home that I lived in was 3,000 square feet. That's a lot. That's a lot of space.
Comfortable, yep.
Yeah, very comfortable.
That was at a reasonable rate.
Yeah, my second wife and 2 kids and us, each kid had their own bedroom, and I had a den in that home. And weirdly enough, it was a 2-family house. We were on the top floor, and we still had over 3,000 square feet, and I had my own den. And we had a sun porch. So there's a lot of room to be had in something like that. What's the acreage look like on that home at $300,000?
It's on a postage stamp. You go outside, you're on somebody else's property. And it's right on mainly traveled 2-lane truckers coming out of Massachusetts.
Now, if you were to put that home closer to a major town, Torrington, let's even go there. I mean, because Torrington's pretty far out there. But if you were to put that home in Torrington, would you see that price go up considerably? Would you see it double?
Not if it were in town. If it were on the outside of town, I would say yes. It could go up in some areas in Torrington.
Right. Interesting. But when you say why do people find it difficult to buy homes? Are you suggesting that perhaps they should move out of their big towns where it's demonstrably expensive and move to areas that are close to you?
Absolutely. Well, I don't want anybody moving close to me anymore.
Well, I'm saying that in a loaded way, but I get your point. But yes, I'm saying generally.
You got to make a move.
Yeah, I agree. You know what? It was let me tell you this. It was one of the things I used to talk about all the time in Manhattan. Until, of course, at the rate that it is now, it's no different. But I used to tell people who used to live, I lived on the Upper East Side, and I had a rent-controlled apartment. And, no, that's not true. I apologize. My father-in-law owned the home, and we were paying about $1,800 a month in early 2000s. However, everybody who lived in Manhattan on the Upper East Side complained about the rent all the time. You know what I would tell them? Why not live across the East River or go to Jersey City just across the Hudson? It's like living in Manhattan, and you're a 15-minute subway ride into the city to work and all of that stuff. But people wanted to live in the city. They would usually spend thousands of dollars more because they wanted to live in a location, in a closet, in a box, in a shoebox. They would prefer to do that because the most important thing to them was the address. And you know the one rule about real estate, right? Location, location, location. That's the 3 rules of real estate. So they don't think to move out there to the outskirts primarily because 1, they don't like the traffic, and 2, they feel like they're far away from everything.
Yep. I'm 7 miles out of the center of Winstead.
Okay.
So I wouldn't want to walk every day, but I could.
I'm going to tell you, honest, my ideal would be living in a remote town, like, you know, the old saying, like the one-horse town. I would love to live in a remote town where there are no paved sidewalks. You have to drive everywhere you go. And the center of town, the most busy location in that town is maybe the post office or the local diner. Not even like, or maybe even the local gas station. That would be the most busy that a town could possibly be. I would love that.
You know, you need to come look at Colebrook because we don't have even a stoplight. And we do have a post office. They tried to close it down, but they gave it back to us.
Okay.
And I think the busiest building is the tax assessor's office in the town hall.
That sounds fantastic. That is ideal. But you know what? That's because I'm 56 now. When I was 26, that was unheard of. Like, that town would have been boring to me. It was like, what are you doing in this town? I would have looked at you and like, how do you live here? But now I totally get it.
You know how many bears we got up here?
I don't want to run from bears all day, Mike.
Yeah, you can. They'll come right in your house.
I would sooner take the cockroaches and the rats of New York than the bear.
Hell nah.
The bears can do much more harm. I'm sorry.
You know what? They're more scared of you than you are of them.
I do know that. I absolutely do know that. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate the call, sir.
Have a good one, buddy.
You got it, man. You too. He's absolutely fun. I love that. Lori says, social programs and public education population drives up taxes with any city or town. You're 100% right. That's, you know, people want to live in places that are peaceful. I think I've always said this, and I know I'm probably repeating myself from just recent. That's why I love Connecticut, because Connecticut, Westchester, even parts of Jersey, I always looked at those neighborhoods or those places as where you go after you've accomplished everything you need to in a major city. Right? You go to New York, you make your bones, you get partner at the law firm, and then once you do that, you buy a home in Connecticut. And, you know, you commute on the Metro North or the New Jersey Transit, whatever the case may be. It's usually the commuter train, not the one that every average person takes, the commuter train, where everybody is reading the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal. You know, everybody wears a suit and tie. I envied those people. When I saw them, I would be in Manhattan and watch them come up the train steps going off to work, and they always looked like the most important people in the world to me. Call me crazy, but I knew that I wanted to work in corporate America when I saw those people get off the train. They probably hated their lives. Didn't matter to me. I looked at them with such an awe and respect, and I knew where they were coming from. They live in Darien. They live in Coscob. They live in Greenwich. And I'd been to those places, and I said, man. And they come to work, and they do that every day. And that's, you know, that's kind of how you do it. You solidify that job, get some job security. You meet the girl you love, and you say, hey, what do you think about moving to Greenwich? I would love to. Let's go look at houses this weekend. That's Americana to me. It just is. I don't care. Say whatever you want about me. But that's it. That's the brass ring. I grew up in Hollis, Queens. Everybody, I watch television a lot. And I watch those programs that show that every day, from the Waltons to 8 is Enough to the Bradys. I watched all of those programs. And those things, it may have been ridiculous. It may have been complete imagination that that's the way life could possibly be. But how do you not want it? By looking at it. How do you not see it and say, How can I get that? I don't know. I never understood people who didn't get it. Never. But some people don't. Some people can never leave the hustle and bustle of the city. I remember that, living in the Lower East Side and living in Greenwich Village, talking to people, and I was like, man, you're like 60. Why don't you go someplace where you can relax? Like, no, the city it's my home. I love the vibrance and the art and the hustle and bustle. They were crazy about that. Me? Nah. For what? I'm done with that. Let's go to Joe in Durham real quick. Hey, Joe.
Reese, happy Friday.
Happy Friday, sir.
I missed it yesterday.
Oh, no problem. Thank you, sir.
Hey, your last caller, he's right. Colebrook is beautiful up there. It's right by the Berkshires. But have you ever heard, well, Durham, obviously. Have you heard of the Durham Fair?
No, and I looked into it. Did you guys just have a fair, or you've got one coming up?
We have one coming up every fall.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah, it's been going on for a while. But the town of Durham, it's like the only big thing that happens every year. 5,000 people here. You're about 20 minutes from 91 or the Merritt.
Okay.
And minimum acre lot is 2 acres.
They've got everything I can assume. That, believe it or not, I don't talk about it enough, but I really do like the fair. I don't like the rides. I'm not really into the rides and stuff, but I love a county fair.
We just go for the food.
Yeah, exactly. You can't beat it, the food. Although, you know what someone's going to have to explain to me, Joe? Someone's got to explain to me the delectability, I use that term loosely, of the corn dog. I don't understand it. I don't understand why people like it. I've tried it. I don't get it.
And it's the weirdest thing, especially watching somebody eat it the long way.
Fair enough. You painted quite the picture. But I don't get it. I don't understand how the two go together or who thought of it and why is such... Like, the funnel cake makes sense to me, although I'm really, really not a big fan of the powdered sugar. But the corn dog, I never got it, and it does incredibly well. And I've eaten it, and I'm going, who likes this? I don't want to get anybody mad, but I just don't understand I don't understand the two things going together. It just doesn't make sense.
You go with the fried dough, you're safe.
Yes, you can't go wrong there. You cannot go wrong there. 100% right. Well, thank you, Joe. I appreciate you, sir. You got it. Let's go to Fred in Middletown. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm good. So let me start with some flattering commentary. That was a very nice narrative, the way you converged finance and feminism and what I'm going to call jack-in-the-box Marxism. It's like, yeah, here, come over here. You can have your cake and eat it too. And people said, oh, okay. And then they went and they were eating the cake. And, Karl Marx popped out of the cake and said, to each according to need and from each according to ability.
Right.
And everyone's like, what? Yeah. And by the way, let me just give you a warning. I almost sense Frank's going to call up and go off on white women with their multiple abortions, STDs, and bad skin. So be ready for that and shut him down. Don't let him do it.
I
right?
will not let him do it. I appreciate you.
Yeah, but so I'd call that like a 3-move combination in chess. That was really nice.
Thank you, sir.
And if you go to the Durham Fair, say hey to the elephant who shouldn't be there.
The elephant they have an elephant there? Why?
They did. I don't know if they still do, but there was a controversy. I mean, I guess it's a draw. And meanwhile, the elephant didn't want to be there. It was clear.
Yeah, that's things like that you can really, really tell because, I don't know, maybe elephants are probably the only animal or one of the few that you can sense melancholy when you look at them.
Dude, I got a story. I went to apply for a job as a clown at the Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus when they were in New York 50 years ago at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
And we were in there behind the scenes, and there was a dude who no way had it. He was not in control. I could smell that dude's fear. And I made eye contact with this elephant at like 40 yards, and it was like, get me the F out of here. Yeah. No doubt, man.
Yeah, it's something that I sense, really.
Mm-hmm. The expression I think you were looking for yesterday, I don't know if this is the OG, and there's usually a few variations, but perfection is the enemy of success.
Perfection. Well, actually, someone did correct me, and I should have given them credit for it. Was that don't let perfection be the enemy of good?
That doesn't sound quite right. But and if you're suffering a word copying or a phrase copying, previously you said not out of necessity nor even out of need. Right? Necessity.
Oh, yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah, okay, that may have been. Yeah, there's a good flub. Thank you for catching that.
And I'm gonna apologize for this, but I want to leave you the word. I'm going to spell it for you.
Okay.
You can take a joke. Okay, VERBICIDE. All right, and I'll say goodbye. Thank you.
I totally didn't even hear that. VE?
Okay, one more time. All right, V.
Oh, VE. Sorry. VE.
VERB. Verb. ICIDE. Verbicide.
Verbicide. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Oh, I got you. Thank you. Nice.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye. Not bad. I actually like that. Let's go to George in Canton before we take a break. Hello, George.
Well, greetings to you, Reese.
Thank you, George.
I was going to call you yesterday, but I had an appointment at my happy hour for my 4 o'clock Tito's, so
okay.
I didn't get. But if I may refer to two things.
Yes.
Yesterday you were talking about the Republicans in this state not identifying with Trump when the left identifies with the wackiest of whoever is running the left party today. And I wanted to I told my wife last night, I'm going to call Reese today and proclaim to the Republicans out there, I'm a registered Republican, always have been. But if they, in this state, do not come out and identify with Trump, and you don't have to agree with everything.
Correct.
And you can say, I don't. You know, Mayor Koch, and I've said it before, Mayor Koch said, if you agree with me on 7 out of 10 items, vote for me. If you agree with me on 10 out of 10, see a psychiatrist. But if these Republican wannabe governors think that I'm going to vote for them and they don't want to fight for it, I'm not going to vote at all.
Yeah,
I'm just not.
They don't understand that, this is, I understand the problems on the left, George, in that sort of not alienating their progressive left because they know that they must get elected and they need those votes to do it. So if they flat out reject them, they are in the wilderness for a long time. So they're skating. But with that being said, Republicans need to consider it on a completely different level. There are people in the state who embrace Donald Trump and cannot have a candidate who supports them, who rejects him not only openly, but insults him because they feel like that's an insult to them as well. So they've got to be able to walk that line and make sure that they understand. I don't have to agree with Donald Trump on everything, but I agree with what you're looking for.
Well, and when I drive around the state and I see any normal homeowner with a Trump sign out, if they've got the courage to do it, I can't do it. I live in a condo, and we cannot, I cannot have any kind of thing. But if they have the courage to do it, then any Republican wanting my vote, they better stand up.
That's right.
And fight for it. Because if they think they're going to get it for nothing, they're not. Now, one of the quick things is time's of the essence. There's been a lot of talk in the last week or so about bicycle safety and a lot of people being killed on bicycles.
Yes.
And I have said it before, and I'm going to repeat it. Maybe people out there on two-wheel bikes will hear it. If you're riding a bike and you do not have a very bright light on the back of your bike flashing that says red, I'm here, and on the front that's a headlight, in the daytime, in the nighttime, whatever, you're the most vulnerable person, well, kind of like a skateboard or anything. When you've got nothing around you, and I'm driving a 4,000-pound
metal road.
Yeah.
If you want me to see you, you better do everything you can
to get out of the way. Thank you, George. I got to take a hard break. I apologize, sir. Look, we got to take a break and get to some news, but we will return. Stand by. Go nowhere. It's Reese on the radio. We'll take more of your phone calls on WTIC News Talk 1080.
The airing of grievances. I got a lot of problems with you people. You're going to hear about it.
Yeah, more than likely, we'll get some people calling in with some grievances. We'll get to those. Pretty much the topic of today is about the left losing the working class. At least that's what the common theme is. But what I'm suggesting is that they've rejected and they see the working class as the enemy of progressivism. And I think I'm pretty good standing here on that. I'm just looking at the way in which they've laid it out over the years as I grew up, which is now, morphed into a conversation about how we became two-income households and things like that. Donald, you bring up something important that is worth recognizing to some degree. And that is what happened when households became two-income households. Businesses started to respond to that as more and more people made more and more money and more technology came into the fold. People forget. I don't know why they do, but they forget. The CD player, the VCR. Remember those? What was the running rate for those things when you first purchased them? How much was it? A CD player was at the risk. Do you remember this, Roland? Were you old enough to remember the first CD player that people bought it as a stereo system for their home, or the VCR?
Yeah, I had all that.
Okay, you had all of them when they first came out very early?
Yeah, well, I don't know when they first came out.
Okay,
but I had them very
they
early.
came in the late 70s, early 80s, generally around like the mid 80s, I would say, was when they sort of broke onto the scene where you would go to a stereo store and you would see them there. A VCR in particular. Do you remember what the prices were right around then?
Somewhere around, I think when we bought our first VCR, my mom did, I think it was like $100 and something.
Okay, that was way late. When we bought them in the 1980s, a VCR was running $750.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, as was the CD player. It was new technology. Most of that stuff was coming in from Japan, of course, and China. Japan primarily, because they were selling us stereo systems out the wazoo. But those devices, CD players and VHS, even the Betamax for that matter, they were really, really expensive, and everybody had to have one. And if you lived in a two-income household, you probably had one. I remember going to family members in the early 90s, and they had laser discs at the household. And we knew we weren't getting them. They ended up fading because, they made the DVDs. But when you first bought those things, they were a lot of money. Thank you. John Beckman says, I paid $150 for the Sony Walkman. That is cassette player, the little cassette player.
Yeah,
that is a lot of money, and that was 83 and 84. But again, as John Beckman just said, right? John Beckman's in the 80s. I want to assume John Beckman's a little older than me, probably about, I don't want to even think 10 years, but probably a little older than me. I want to say 5 to 7 years older than me. He was in high school when I was a preteen. So like the 80s going into the 90s. So when he was paying $150, again, and his dad went to Yale, and he lived in a well-to-do family, and I think in New Jersey, because I remember that about John Beckman, was in New Jersey before he moved all the way out west to Nevada. And those things that you would buy, you could afford if you lived in a suburban two-family household. Every kid had one growing up. What was also expensive in the 80s that plenty of people had that average families couldn't afford, but suburban families could? Cable. Cable was a big thing. I didn't grow up with HBO, or as it was called back when I was a kid, Wameka Home Television. Anybody remember that? WHT? Nobody. Somebody probably will. But yeah, Ridgewood, New Jersey. Wameka Home Television was HBO before HBO. Do you remember? You probably don't remember WHT. It was a big deal.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Wameka Home Television was HBO back in the days, but you couldn't afford it. In fact, when I was growing up, we had Video Music Box, which was on Channel 31. That was on the UHF channel. But everybody in New Jersey had MTV. Our version of MTV, we had to go to Channel 31 to go to Video Music Box. Thankfully, he didn't just play rap music, but he played rock and roll. I remember the first time I'd ever seen the song Ain't Gonna Play Sun City, which features Nola. What was Nola's last name? Anyway, it'll come to me. But Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band. All of these rock bands were protesting Sun City against apartheid back in the days. Paul says, thank you, Paul. I really appreciate that. $790 for a Sharp stereo tower from Tokyo.
Yikes. I do remember the big old giant TV that was like a big stationary TV.
Yes.
We had that, and then my mom paid a lot of money for
exactly
for that TV.
Yeah, so these were excesses that people were afforded. Now think about it. In contrast, in this whole thing that Tony called and talked about, right? He's saying the reason why they can't afford this, even Donald was saying this, it's like now things are much more expensive than they ever were. No. Why did every one of those companies that Paul is describing and John Beckman's describing and Lori described, why did those companies flourish at a time when the products were 8, 9, 10, 11 times the prices they are today? Why? It's simple. It should be easier to purchase those things together by comparison. Back then, you made minimal dollars, but people still bought them. People were still able to afford the stereo systems, the DVD players, not the DVD players, the laser disc players. Why? They made less money. And those companies did not go bankrupt. They did not. They're still around to this day. They got cheaper over time, but people were buying them. And two-income households were all of those played a role. It's just important. Now, you grew up with mom and dad, Roland, presume, or no? Just my
mom.
Okay. Did she have a professional career? Was she like a corporate worker in that regard? Was she work with government?
No, she didn't do any. She was in the. I told you she was in the drug game for a while.
Oh. So one reason I forgot that. How could I forget? Ooh, okay. But
then she parlayed that into cleaning service.
Okay.
Cooking and cleaning service.
Okay, and so she started her own business.
Yeah, she started her own business, and she used to clean houses of really wealthy people.
Okay.
And then
parlayed that into actually farming out the work.
Yeah.
Brilliantly done. Hey, nothing wrong with going legit. You know what I mean? But you need that seed money. You know what I'm saying, from the beginning. But I get
She need that startup.
But exactly. But again, living that turned into becoming a private business owner, which is huge. Especially in the African-American communities. But by the way, that is not uncommon. A lot of people don't know how many people started businesses back in the days. When I was growing up, the reason why Rob Johnson was Rob Johnson was because there were plenty of people who were starting their own business in telecommunications, in the banking system, in economics of all forms. They were pilots. They were everything, lawyers. This wasn't like new. This didn't come out of nowhere. But these things, again, all of those people who were suburbanites, they weren't rich, they weren't wealthy, they weren't, beyond compare. These were middle-class families. Were they upper middle class versus regular middle class? Sure they were. They come in all shapes and sizes, especially those who were immigrants who came into the country. All of them were able to afford the things that I'm talking about. Why? Because we became the country of excess. Japanese would never have sold electronics in the way and the volume that they did in the United States in the 1980s if we did not have the income to sustain that product.
Just think about bring it to today's times.
Yeah.
That when the flat screen TV first came out, I remember my brother and my sister and her husband bought it, and it was like $2,000 and some change for a 42-inch.
That's exactly
it was
right.
A 42-inch flat screen for $2,000 and some change.
And everybody
now you can get
had
it for
to have
$199.
Exactly. Exactly my point. So these things, people talk about what it costs. Look, do you know that 60% of low-income families have air conditioning in their home? They do. Compare that to true poverty. People don't know. People don't know. The excess that we have as a people is incredible compared to poverty-stricken countries. But that's another story. I can go into that all day. There's a great documentary about that, too. But that's the point that I'm saying here about all of this working class versus progressivism. These things that we're talking about, stereos, things like televisions, the progressive left even thinks that those things are bad. Your air conditioning, that's the enemy of climate. Those things are basic norms in your life. Those are the things that those are creature comforts in order for you to have your families live. Microwaves, for crying out loud. Dishwashers. Those things are considered the enemy of progress. You got to think about that. That, again, what you have been working for, you, the average citizen, everything. Ask yourself, go to any progressive website, and you will see your every life, every bit of your fabric of your life is under attack by progressivism. They didn't lose you. They don't want you. They don't want your kids because they have boredom. They don't want your traffic because you pollute the air. And if you pollute the air, you contribute to climate change. And they don't want you to have a good salary or a big salary. They don't want you to make thousands and thousands of dollars, to own your own business, or even, God forbid, to protect yourselves. They want you adherent. Again, they did not lose you. They rejected you. They attacked you. That's the whole point I'm making here. Sokolowski says, before we go to break, I paid $2,700 for a 50-inch TV about 25 years ago. Holy moly, 50-inch. I got a 50-inch, in one of my bedrooms. You know how many TVs I have in the house? 7.
Damn.
I have 7. I just realized it the other day. I have 7. 7 flat screens in my house. There's only 2 of us.
That would have cost you about $12,000.
Probably more. We got to take a break. We'll come back. More news, more views. We'll get your phone calls as well. It's Reese on Radio on WTIC News Talk 1080. Yeah, we're back. Rozan's going to join us in a bit, so stay tuned for that. Of course, it's Friday, so that means Rozan will be here soon. I also want to give a shout-out to Steve Orozco. He is going to be joining me in studio on Tuesday at 4 o'clock. Now, if you don't know, let me break it down for you. Okay, so those of you who may not know, Steve Orozco is running for mayor of New Haven. And it's going to be my first in-studio interview at WTIC. So he is going to he's going to be the inaugural interview in studio, sitting with me. And I'm very
cherry.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. So I can't wait to have him there. So apparently, and I want to commend whomever it was. And I understand it's somebody who's running for office in Hartford. If I forget who it is or I don't know who it is, I apologize. Stephen didn't say who it was. He just said that someone's running for office in Hartford and was at an event with Steve Orozco and told him, hey, have you been on Reese's show yet? And he immediately looked me up and friended me. So whomever that was, if you're running for office, I owe you an interview and a thank you because I did want to get in touch with Steve. In fact, I got to send him an email later about how to get to the studio. So he's going to be our guest on Tuesday at 4 o'clock. We're going to have him on for about an hour. We're going to talk about anything and everything, Connecticut, New Haven, immigration, poverty, all that stuff when he comes on. So we'll do that. That's up. Don't forget, folks, go to reeseontheradio.com. That's REESE ontheradio.com whenever you like. You can tell us a whole bunch of stuff. Let me get Tom in Burlington in here before we take a break. Hey, Tom. Tom?
Hello.
Hey, Tom. How are you?
Hello. Good. How are you, Reese?
I'm great. What's up?
I got a story about the VCR topic.
Okay, please.
This is a classic. So back in the early 80s, I couldn't afford a VCR because, like you said, we're in the $700 range.
Mm-hmm.
I was driving a limousine part-time, and I had taken a prominent family from Northwest Connecticut down to New York City to see a play on a Sunday. And while I had time, I parked. I was being hustled by a fellow who had a VCR, which obviously it was a scam. But he was asking $700 for it. I'm like, come on, man, I don't have $700. I'll give you $250. I don't know. I had $500. Well, I finally got it down to $150.
Wow.
The guy gave it to me. It was beautiful packaged. Everything looked great. I threw it in the back of the trunk in the limousine because I was in between them, their show, and just waiting for them. Took a ride around the corner, got out, opened up the package, and lo and behold, it was bricks in concrete.
A cinder. That was, listen to me, you have no idea that was the going ring during that time.
Yeah.
A lot of people, guys were finding cinder blocks in boxes.
Yeah. Yes. So, I couldn't afford to give $150 for cinder blocks, but I learned a lesson. Well, anyways, I got done with the job that night. I had the box still. I had it all wrapped up. Of course, there was a remote on the top. And look, I went home to my parents' house. I was married at the time, but I said, I got to stop and show my father. Put it on the kitchen table, bright light. He's like, holy Jesus, look at this, a brand new VCR. He said, yeah, Dad, open it up. It looked in the light. I was hustled, New York City street. He couldn't tell looking on the table. That's how good it was. So that was my story about a $700 VCR.
You know what? Listen, you were not the only one. Do not feel bad. A lot of people got hustled that way, man. That was a big deal. Thank you, Tom. I appreciate it. You got it. There's a lot of crackhead stories related to VCRs, too. I'm sure you know those. Let's get our first check of weather and traffic. I don't know who's got weather. We'll find out, and then we'll remember. We got Tom O'Hanlon hanging out for the show, filling in for Mark Christopher in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Tom.
It's Reese on the radio. And don't say we didn't warn you on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Hey, everybody, we are back, and I'm hanging out with my lovely wife, Rozan. How are you, dear?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm great. Why are you so giddy? Are you excited for next week?
I'm just, yes, that is one. The other thing is I'm completely infatuated with you, so.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, we haven't argued all week, so, that just increases the love, so.
We haven't argued all week.
We have not.
Wait, we did have a little bit of a mini argument earlier in the week.
I already forgot what it was about.
You did?
I don't remember. Yeah.
We were having a sort of a dismissal thing, and I was kind of being a little,
Was I being dismissive?
You were being dismissive of me, and I was.
That's probably why I forgot already.
But I think we were talking about Modern Family, which is your favorite show, and you thought it was a silly debate that we were having. And I was just having a conversation, and I didn't understand why it was a debate. It was just
if I recall correctly, you were being a little. I was trying to explain to you the difference of why, like, you have your opinion and I have mine. You just kept dismissing my perspective as a mom on the mom thing.
That's what, I have sometimes I have an issue with that. When some people say I couldn't possibly understand because I'm not a mom, when indeed I'm not trying to be a mom in that regard. I'm really just talking about my perspective. Now, I know that there are some people who have a different perspective than me, and I debate with them all the time. But I immediately reject the idea that it's a non-discussion because I am this particular group.
Let me ask you, do you know what it's like to have, go to work every day and have cramps and, be, in the midst of a full-blown cycle?
No.
So when a woman complains that she's uncomfortable or she doesn't like the way she's feeling icky or just all these things, do you, reject the idea that you don't understand what that is because you've never been there?
No, what I do is what if I'm interested in that ailment, as you describe it? Maybe I'm using that term loosely, and I want to understand more, so I'm pushing you to explain it to me more in depthly. And your response to that is, well, you just wouldn't understand because you're not a woman.
No. It's when you get to a point where like, yeah, that doesn't make sense. No, I don't think that's not fair.
It's okay for a guy to say it doesn't make sense.
No. When I say something like, I'm crying a lot right now because my cycles. I think that's just ridiculous. You're just being emotional.
I don't do that.
Oh, yes, you do.
Oh, let's get another check of the weather and traffic. Hey, your buddy's on.
Tom O'Hanlon.
Yes, he's in BPS Traffic Center.
The airing of grievances. I got a lot of problems with you people. Now, you're going to hear about it.
All right, we are back, I should say. Reese on the radio, News Talk 1080 WTIC. We'll get to your phone calls in a bit. I got Rozan in the house. First, I want to give a shout-out to Fritz the Cat. He may have missed it yesterday. But Fritz put in the chat room yesterday that the Silver Sun pickups are going to be playing at, what's the name of the place, Roland? What's it called?
Toad's Place.
Toad's Place, at Toad's Place on Wednesday next week. And I saw it, and I completely lost it and said, oh, my God, what a great... So, Fritz, if you missed it yesterday, I told you it was as good as a Christmas gift could be, a birthday gift even, is to tell me that the Silver Sun pickups are playing at Toad's Place on Wednesday. I love them. You know I love them. That's why you mentioned it. So thank you for that gift and telling me that. And right now we're working on getting me to that concert. I understand Fritz is going to be there. I've already met Fritz, but Rozan hopefully will be there, even though she doesn't know one song, one note of the silver. What do you call them?
The Silver Truck Star Guys. What were they? What?
Silver Sun Pickups.
There we go.
Yeah, them. You probably know about two songs, but anyway, I can't wait to see them. On Wednesday, I'm going to be there to go watch.
Yeah, you should be good to go.
I should be? Okay, good. So, Fritz, don't worry about it. I will find it. And if they give me VIP treatment, like a VIP section, I will find you and I will beg them to let you and hopefully Chrissy in so you can hang out with us. And if they don't, I will go down to wherever you are and hang out with you. It's standing room only at Toad's Place, isn't it?
There's only like one little booth up top for.
Okay, I don't care. I can do standing room only. I don't care. I did that at a concert anyway. They've got a lot of music to go over for Rozan to understand one song by them. We've gone to concerts before. In fact, our first concert date was on my birthday.
It was actually this day.
Yes. Was it this day?
Yeah. It was August the 15th.
4 years ago?
No.
Had to have been.
No, 4 years ago we went to Sacramento.
On my birthday, that's
correct.
Right.
It was the following, so it was 3 years ago.
So 3 years ago. Yeah. And do you remember the bands that we went to go see? Can you name one of them?
Styx, REO Speedwagon, Heartbreak Boy.
You're close. You're close. Begins with an L. Think of the same vein. With an L.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Loverboy.
Loverboy.
Yes.
Okay, well, yeah.
We went to go see them.
You have a good time at this, don't you?
No, I'm having a blast.
I don't know any of the people.
Yeah, you never know the bands.
Yeah.
If they don't have a bird chest and sing R&B, you don't know who they are.
That's not true.
Whatever.
And then you took me to see The Far Side, and
I did take you to go see The Far Side.
You mentioned that you. Well, actually, I took you for your birthday last year. You mentioned, oh man, Far Side, and I was like looking. Far, F-A-R-S, and I was like, I don't know who this is. And then you're like, no, it's spelled like this. And I was like, I was never going to get that right.
Yeah, but that was a great birthday, too. That was another birthday gift, wasn't it?
Last
year's birthday.
Yeah.
Wow. It seems like so much longer than that. Anyway, that turned out to be a great one. But Loverboy, the only reason why I love bringing up REO Speedwagon, Styx, and Loverboy for you, and I was so excited to go. And
I was cold.
You were cold.
It was 80 degrees.
It's crazy how Rozan figured out why it was important for her to go to this concert, because she kept saying to us, I'm not going to know any of these groups. This is from your old era. And I went, no, you're going to know these bands. And the relating sort of dynamic in all of this was Adam Sandler, in whom she loves. Yeah. She loves Adam Sandler films. And I was like, if you've seen an Adam Sandler film, you know a song from one of these groups. He puts their songs in every one of his
I think
movies.
I knew one song from each band.
At least you came out of at the end of it. You had 4 songs that you knew.
Are you sure it was 4? I thought it was 3.
Mr. Roboto, you knew. Yeah,
Yeah,
you knew that one. Everybody's working for the weekend.
Yeah.
You remember that?
I remember that.
So I can't remember what other songs you remember there. There were so many, but there were a lot. No, there were so many that I remember.
That you remember.
Yeah,
Well,
remember. But you knew a few. But that's what the whole concert turned into.
You know what this is like for me? It would be like if we went to a tattoo, which is it's a military show, and they just started calling off cadence. Like I would know, that's my favorite cadence, and you're just sitting there like, oh, I saw that in Forrest Gump. Like that's the similarity for me and you. It's like I don't know your stuff, you don't know my stuff, but we work, so.
Yeah, I mean, I know we work in that regard.
So I told you I wanted to. I'm sorry. I'm going to totally interrupt you because I don't care. No, just kidding. Because I'm very rude sometimes, and I get it. I was just thinking, like, your birthday was yesterday, and we're going to be in Connecticut next week, and my birthday's 2 weeks after that.
That's correct.
And I told you last night I was going to bring this up on the show. So,
please,
are you going to celebrate my birthday for me in Connecticut?
I could.
I think you should.
Why not? Would you just want to come back up and be there for your birthday before we move?
I thought, definitely. We're definitely going back. I mean, assuming I'm going to like it, which I'm pretty sure I'm going to. They have 4 seasons there, right? Yeah. I was just thinking, since we're there, maybe, we celebrate my birthday in Connecticut.
Let me ask you this. This has been on my mind for a couple of minutes.
The answer is no. A couple of minutes. That's a long time for you.
It is a long time. I was thinking about it as you were taking your chair here today and saying to myself, would you be interested in a women's group, or is that too corny for you?
What do you mean?
How do I put it? Would you do like a women's group that is either already established or start your own?
For what?
I don't know, just anything. I don't know, knitting, baking.
I have to remember this is like live radio, and there's like rules and
Try
stuff.
not to curse at me?
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding on what it is, but would you join a women's group? Hear me out, ladies. I do mean this. Not that.
Is it because I don't have a lot of friends?
And as a woman, I think you should. We were watching that ridiculous show. We binge watched it.
Don't call it ridiculous. You're the one who couldn't stop watching. You didn't go to bed till 2:00 this morning, so don't blame it on me.
Yes.
Hunting Wives.
Yes, a TV show
Amazing.
called Hunting Wives on Netflix.
I would join a group like that, but less murdery.
Well, the reason why I was thinking about it
Well,
was...
there's a couple of other things, maybe not so much, but a close-knit group of women with whom I could socialize and go shopping and have lunch. Absolutely, I'd love to do that.
Yeah, that's what I almost
but
feel
to
like...
sit around knitting or crossword puzzles, I'd shoot myself in the face.
I was teasing on that level. But I'm saying, would you join a group of women that sort of did things like that, socialized together?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I was thinking about that as we were watching that show, Hunting Wives, which is, again, very, murdery.
Great show.
But it was a good show. It was a great, it's a popcorn show.
Love it.
But as I was watching it, I was just saying, you know what? I wouldn't, as a guy, how fun would that be to have my wife, who had her little girls group that she went out and did.
Little girls group? Wow, let's not nominalize it. Let's not, look, it's so cute. Look at the girls doing the things.
Okay, first of all, I didn't mean it like that, but I guess it could come off that way. Words matter.
Words matter.
But I would like you to have that sort of group.
Now, let's be honest. What you really want is time away from me so I can leave you alone.
Actually, no, because I'm going to put you on the spot here. Here's the reason why.
Oh, God. Here we go.
You are going to be so upset with me after I say this.
You still like being married to me, right?
Yeah, I love being married to you.
You're like the fringe benefits.
But you know that I'm honest, and you know that I kind of lay it on the line when I do it.
Do it.
Okay. You expressed something to me a long time ago. Not even a long time ago. Recently, you've expressed something to me that you want to be a part of, then you would like to kind of experience. And you don't know what it is?
You and I both know that. Oh, look, a butterfly! Like literally,
Yes.
I will change my mind every time something new and shiny flies by. So
you have a song that you sing every time we talk about it from a Disney film.
Oh my God! Shut up! I hate you.
Why don't you?
I want to be where the white folks are. That one?
That song.
Absolutely.
Well, you have become somewhat of a conservative as of late.
Yeah.
And the circles.
I will say it, ladies and gentlemen, I am a conservative Republican.
Well, you know what it deserves?
It's taken a long time to get the R word out. So, yeah.
But you would like to be a part of, you always joke about it, sort of like, and I think that what a great thing for you to be a part of, whatever it's a social club, maybe, at the country club or things like that. It's not so much to be an elite, but to be amongst sort of your own and like-minded people where they do events or they do fundraisers and things like that, and sort of be with those individuals and sort of create relationships with those folks. Is that something that you'd be interested in doing?
Absolutely.
I think New England is perfect for that.
Yeah, I think so. It's been really difficult, especially here in Texas. I mean, I don't relate to anybody here. I just don't. Like, I know soy pura chicana, but I don't relate to the culture, the language, just the difference in the way women behave here. I don't understand it at all. I'm not aggressively jealous and possessive. I'm not
but you're
painfully insecure. Right, and I'm not, I can look down my nose, and I have to remember to stop being so judgmental, but I'm kind of a snob in that way. But I mean, there's a different level of judgment here that I don't understand. There's a competition that I don't understand, a level of insecurity I don't understand. And so, being around other women that are educated and secure in their life, you know what I mean? Secure with their spouse, secure with their children, secure with their employee, like everything. Just secure, confident, comfortable women is kind of what I would love to be surrounded by.
Craig in the car says that his wife does a Peloton spin class over Zoom.
I can't do a spin. No, I tried.
Let me finish.
Okay.
Is it with Zoom with 5 other girls every night they do it?
Yeah, no. That sounds too much like work. No. So when I was on active duty, we would do Tuesdays or Thursdays. Usually it was Thursday was sort of our open PT, and so we would kind of experiment with different types of PT on Thursdays.
Okay.
And we went to the gym, and my whole company jumped on bikes.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely no. That is an intense workout that I.
Oh, I see it. I mean, I don't think that it's.
No, you have no idea.
I believe you.
Like the time we rode our bikes for 14 miles, cakewalk compared to these spin classes. No, I can't. It just, that's intense. Yeah.
Rama says that all women paintball. She's former military. She'd slay.
No, because I don't like I've been hit with paintballs before. Those things, I had a huge welt. Like my ankle swole up to like 5 times its size.
Okay, this sounds like something where you would probably be better in a country club setting. No, not that,
I'm thinking I would love to learn how to golf. I'd love to learn how to play tennis. I like swimming. I love yoga. I like shopping. I love food.
I think Craig's wife, sans the cycling, might be perfect for you. But we're going to see Craig when we get up there as well, and we'll talk about it. But I've been thinking about that for a while for you because and you said that it's so I can get away from you, but I always feel like you're doing the thing that I'm doing. And I don't think that's fair to you. I want you to really have, especially in Connecticut, because I love it so much in Connecticut. I know you will. And I see Connecticut. You talk about where you want to live and how you want to live. And there's a lot about Connecticut that I see in your description. Mm-hmm. And if you had the right people, if you met the right people, and you had the right social circles, you could really experience that and sort of have a quality of life that I think that you'd enjoy.
I'm really looking forward to Connecticut. Like, we lived in the greater D.C. area. Excuse me. I lived in the greater D.C. area for over 20 years, all over Virginia and Maryland. Mm-hmm. And it was great. I loved it. There's a lot that I love about being in that atmosphere where there's politics, there's government, there's socialize. It's a beautiful atmosphere. I love it. But there's this certain element that's starting to creep into Northern Virginia that I find less and less desirable. I'm trying to get away from.
Right.
And being here, this was not at all what I expected. Being in Texas, I was hoping for something more, something different. And I think Connecticut, based on the one time that I was there and stayed inside the hotel because it was freezing cold,
14 below.
It was ill. But I do miss winter. It does seem more appropriate for the lifestyle that I'm hoping to live out.
Yeah, and I really do want that for you. And I've experienced other facets of that in other places that I've lived not all across the country, but in several places. And again, I've lived in Connecticut, so I know what that's like, and having to be more from a hip hop perspective. But the people that I knew living in Manchester were all the people I'm talking about. It's crazy that the people that I knew in Manchester were more of the. In fact, one of my best friends, Chris, in the formerly of the Army, I think he still works in the military today. Chris listens almost every day. Still lives in Connecticut. He and I used to hang out and watch the ball games over at the TGI Fridays across the street from the Buckland Hills Mall. He became one of my best friends. Still is a great friend to this day. His circle is exactly who I ended up sort of establishing with, which was so far from the hip-hop angle that I was a part of.
Right.
And he's more WTIC, so I kind of want you to be in that sort of makeup.
Oh, do we get to talk to Tom O'Hanlon?
We don't, because he's doing so much, but he's doing traffic. And speaking of which, let's get to that. We got so much more, and I got to get into our Between Rounds winner. Can't articulate. Tom O'Hanlon, he's in the BPS Traffic Center.
Stay locked in. Reese on the radio is on WTIC News Talk 1080.
We are back. It is Reese on the radio, Rozan on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080. We are just talking about our trip coming to Connecticut. It's pretty much, we're going to do this at least, we're going to try to do it every month for at least a week until we are there permanently, which begins in November. We finally have a tenant here for this house, which is fine. Do we have a tenant? Like, is that that's official? Okay.
We're good.
Okay, so we
got
have
a management company to manage the property while we're gone.
Yeah.
We got a tenant. We got everything. Yeah.
Now, the news is, should this work out, with, my stay at WTIC, things could happen. Oh, speaking of which, you know what? I got to check numbers. They came out on my birthday of all days.
Nice.
Did you know that? Yeah.
Did you got a bagel to give away?
Oh, yeah, you're so right.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Thanks for reminding me.
Savory, flavory, bagel, deli, and bakery. Between rounds, between rounds, between rounds.
And congratulations goes to Jeffrey A. of Old Saybrook. He is our winner of the Between Rounds dozen bagels a month for 6 months, courtesy of Between Rounds, the Bagel Bakery and Sandwich Cafe. If you'd like to participate and win a dozen bagels a month for 6 months, all you have to do is go to ReeseOnTheRadio.com. That's ReeseOnTheRadio.com. Fill out the form. Make sure that you live in the state of Connecticut. You have not won in the last 6 months from today. In order for you to participate, Rozan, you cannot win. You are unfortunately married to Reese on the radio, which makes you ineligible. However, you, if you'd like, can go on down to Between Rounds at South Vernon, Manchester, or Vernon locations and pick up a dozen bagels on your own.
I love their Asiago bagels. They're so good.
Before we go to break. So anyway, so we have a person who's going to be renting the home. We are then going to move down there. If things work out and they look great, right, at WTIC.
I mean, they will look great. I mean, you have to own it, project it, give it to the universe, make it yours. Visualize.
I think we'll do all right.
Yeah.
But that being said, our objective is to make Connecticut our home.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And to embark on a journey that is 14 years in the making and to be a part of that community and to do good works while we are there, to be in service of the community.
Absolutely.
And that's what our intent is, so you can expect that from us when we get there, and then possibly and probably without a doubt sell the house.
Oh yeah, definitely. I don't foresee us ever living in Texas again. This was a blip, I think, on the journey of our lives. Actually, I feel like this was a huge learning experience. I hope you got something from it, but I know that I've definitely been given the blessing of learning and growing, or at least learning where I need to work. So
I got this chance to live in a state that I've never been in before. So, do I like it? Verdict's still out. Anyway, let's get another check of our weather and traffic. And Tom O'Hanlon is in for Mark Christopher in the BPS Traffic Center.
The airing of grievances. Grievances. I got a lot of problems with you people. Now, you're going to hear about it.
All right, we're back. Reese on the radio, Rozan on the radio. We are talking about anything and everything, no matter what. Because Rozan and I always have great conversation together. And, of course, we're reading all of your comments inside the chat room, which is everywhere. Donald says, Reese, I can't believe you're coming to live in a very liberal state. And I love Connecticut. I don't need it to be liberal or conservative in order for me to love it.
Yeah.
In fact, I want to tell you, I thought about this so much that I came up with a couple of taglines.
Oh, gosh, here we go.
I came up with a couple of taglines for Connecticut. You remember I talked about this a couple of days ago, and I said the road sign coming into Connecticut needs to be changed to, the places that identify who Connecticut is, right? That road sign coming up through Westchester.
Right, like Virginia's for lovers.
Right. But
Maryland is for
Yeah,
Old Bay. I don't know.
Exactly. Maryland is for Old Bay. Right. But that sign that says "Welcome to Connecticut" I have some variations. They're not a lot, but there are a few. One that I didn't write down that I've been thinking about, and I thought this was perfect. Welcome to Connecticut. Dequat is not a nation. How about that one? No, not at all. That's okay. All right.
Dequat's not a people.
Yeah, but it is going to be. It will be in its people very soon. Anyway,
I think that one's a dud.
The home of the basketball capital of the world. That's a good one.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, it is.
I know it is, but that's horrible.
UConn, baby.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. I mean, UConn. But these are better. I think these really describe Connecticut. Like this one. Welcome to Connecticut. Sorry, let me start that over. Welcome to Connecticut. Our kids can't read this sign. That's a good one. I like that one. How about this one? This one's good. Welcome to Connecticut. Your kids will never be the same. With the whole gender transformation that they do here.
Oh, my gosh.
That will be, your kids will never be the same. I think that's good.
Connecticut, where your boys are girls and your girls are boys.
How about this one? Welcome to Connecticut. We only look Republican.
I like that one.
I like that one, too.
That
right?
one, yeah.
You only look it. And this one, I think this one's perfect. I think this one should be attributed to me. And everyone will appreciate this one, and it's perfect. And I'm going to petition the town to have this sign coming into Connecticut. Welcome to Connecticut. No racial incidents in 486 days. I think, and it should change every day. There should be like a little dial that someone can go down from the Department of Transportation and change it every day.
Kind of like those
safety incidents.
Work-related injuries.
Exactly. That's what it should say. We've accomplished so much by doing that. No racial incidents in 486 days. I counted.
That's great.
Where your children will never be the same is diabolical.
That's diabolical. Yeah, it is. What is it? They have the Merritt Parkway and not DEI Parkway. So that's a good thing. Yeah, I like that, John Beckman. Nice one. Welcome to Connecticut. We love criminals, Matty O writes.
Yeah, but only if they're in office.
Ooh, nice.
You're welcome.
Nice little add-on.
Yeah.
Welcome to Connecticut. Abort your baby, then go to the beach.
Oh, my goodness. Good grief.
Damn! That's horrible.
Woo.
Oh.
I like it.
Yeah, that's apparently. I've given license to come up with new ones. Write your own in the chat room. I appreciate it. Let me read a couple of the other comments in the chat room. especially from some of the ladies who are in the chat room, and they are very excited for you to come to town, Rozan. Lori says that there are a lot of Karens here, but there are lots of great restaurants. She says that she is a foodie, so you're going to enjoy that. She's going to take you to a couple of those restaurants. Nice. And that's true. That's good because I will not go to restaurants.
You will eat a great paste as long as it suits all your nutritional needs.
Absolutely. And that'll be a great thing to do, to go out and eat with
other people who like food.
Other people who like food. That would be fun. Zap says, Rozan sounds like a great Avon Country Club candidate. There's pool, there's golf. He says that there are mothers that I can't read that. And shopping. He also says, move to Canton, and we have it all. Lots of great hiking, shopping, and dining.
I don't do outside. Not on purpose. Like, not unless I have to. You know what I mean? Like, I did that in the Army. I did my hiking. I'm good. But thank you.
He says it's a short drive to the studio. It is. And it is short drive to the studio, and it's 30 minutes from the hood. I didn't know that was...
They have a hood up there?
Yes, they do. They have several. Pam Bondi has called us a super sanctuary state. That's true, Carmela.
Now I'm definitely not going outside. There's going to be wanted posters all over looking for me, and, you know...
No. I like that. Craig in the car says, welcome to Connecticut. Dequat is not a casino.
Oh, that's a good one.
Mohegan is.
That's a good one.
I think every time I hear the word Dequat, or Diquat as they call it, it does sound like an Indian tribe. It just does. I don't know why. It does. I don't know why, but it does. What are some of the other things that you're looking forward to?
Snow.
You
foliage.
Really do like the snow.
I do. I like the snow from inside. I'm also looking forward to the foliage. I miss 4 seasons. We've had 2 seasons here. It's hot, and then, oh, my God, we're going to die because it's so hot.
Yeah.
That's all we get.
It's really bad. We get like a smidgen of
and it rains.
Winter.
Oh, the storms here are phenomenal. Phenomenal. You usually sleep through. You could sleep through anything, but the rain hits the bedroom window so hard. And
because we have no cover.
And the thunder is so intense that the whole house rattles.
Yeah.
And you're asleep. You are dead asleep to all of it. So
that's a good thing because I don't like to be woken up for anything. Matteo says that you should read my comments before you read them on the air. Reese, I hope you can live with your party losing elections. Yeah, I don't really. Yeah, unlike liberals, Donald, I don't get emotional about elections.
Right. I think it's important that we really have to put this out there. Right. We are not our political party. Like, our entire lives do not revolve around our political party. Mm-hmm. We have lives. So my best friends are Democrats.
Yeah. In fact, we enjoy. It's funny because and some people might even call that sadistic. But we enjoy the confrontation of different political ideologies.
How else do you expect to learn? You know what I mean? Like, how else do you expect to reach the masses if you're not understanding where they're coming from?
You were speaking my opening show.
That's exactly how you and I got together. That's how you didn't convert me to becoming a conservative Republican. You just showed me that it's okay. I'm not going to die or catch some illness by watching videos or watching Trump speeches or opening my mind. In fact, that's why I like to say I'm not woke, I'm awake, is because I needed someone to tell me, listen, it's okay. You're not going to accidentally catch conservatism if you watch. You just might learn some things. And the more I learned, the more I began to realize that everything I'd been told was a friggin' lie.
I think that on the other end of that, the people who have had some struggles with even considering conservative ideals or even I don't even want them to abandon their ideology, but even considering the other side in a meaningful or reasonable way. I think the reason why they reject it is sort of, and I've noticed this in the inner city, and I dealt with it, and there is a level of ridicule that you will get that is so much pressure that it becomes difficult for you to breathe. Right. What I mean by that is, and I've noticed it here in every show I've ever done.
I've noticed it, in my own family unit. You know, I've got, unfortunately, my kid that I raised much better than this, is now considering himself a socialist. I've got all these
stepdaughters.
Well, I wasn't going to go there, but I've got all these liberals, like ferocious liberals, that God forbid you disagree with them, suddenly you deserve to die.
Yeah.
And it's really just kind of sad that people can't disagree and still get along.
Yeah, but see, that what I'm saying is that I've been in circles, right? You know, when I was doing that podcast that was out in Sacramento, and I was on there for a little more than 13 years.
Idiots all day?
Yeah.
That's what we'll call it.
That program was always the constant beating up on my conservative leanings for the sake of
denouncing
ridicule.
your blackness.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you were not black. The show that you were on was all black men and a few black women and Mary. But the huge, like everybody piled on to how unblack you are and how anti-black you are. And I don't think people can appreciate, or even the victim mentality is so intense in people, right? You said it, that there's what is it? The aggrandizement of victimhood.
Yes.
Right? You actually love black people and your blackness so much that you refuse to be a trope. You refuse to be a victim of that mindset. You refuse to be a blind sheep. You refuse to be a victim. And that is problematic. Was it not FDR? Was it FDR said he's going to have...
Oh, that's Lyndon B. Johnson. Lyndon Baines
He
Johnson.
will have the Negro voting Democrat for the next 200 years. And how do you do that? You poor little baby, come here. Let me put this government teat right in your mouth. You just suckle from this. And you look at this and you go, I think we're better than this.
Yeah.
And you refuse to be...
And that's the part that's overwhelming about that. And what I'm saying to that point is that when you know, having experienced it, right, being on that show for 13 years, having my integrity and my authenticity challenged every day, you think that way because you're white or you act white.
Right.
You think that way because you haven't been in the hood or you hate yourself for being
right.
black. That when you deal with that kind of, now think about it, I'm dealing with it having my point of view that is different than theirs, right? Adversarial in some ways to them. So if they're doing it to me for not going along to get along, what do you think happens when other people who see the error in that belief system, who say, you know what, maybe what Donald Trump is saying, or maybe what conservatives are saying is right. And then you try to broach that conversation with your friends, and they receive the same.
Ostracized.
Yeah, exactly. And they receive the same, deluge of dismissal and
ridicule.
Ridicule. And they go, I don't want to be a part of that. Some people aren't built for that kind of ridicule.
Well, there becomes a cognitive dissonance, right? Like what I believe to be true and what I'm willing to tolerate are polar opposites. But in order to continue to survive, I have to disregard what I know to be true, right? And that unto itself is I mean, I can only imagine the rates of depression and anxiety and the mental health difficulties that come along with that.
You don't want to be, look, I always say this, no one ever wants to be disliked or dismissed.
Except you.
By their family. By their family or their loved ones.
Right.
For the way in which they think. So in a lot of ways, and I know it's crass for me to call it this, to use this frame or use this framework, but I call it an abusive relationship because that's what it is. It's like, take the abuse, take the victimhood, talk about the struggle, deal the drugs, stay in the hood, do all of those things, or we won't love you.
If I didn't love you, I wouldn't hurt you.
Yeah, exactly. It is like you have
my whole childhood.
Yeah, you have to follow this because these things, the only way that you can be accepted is to accept these norms. And it is an abusive relationship, so you have to do it. And as you said earlier, it's like, I don't care about I understand the abuse.
Right.
And I say to myself, I would rather, what's the old saying? I would rather fight on my feet
than die on my knees.
Die on my knees. And I don't care who it's from, all day, every day. That, I need, in order to make my point of view exist in a world that I think it's possible, I have to be able to take the slings and arrows. If it weren't hard, it wouldn't be worth
exactly.
a thing.
And I say this to the boy all the time. Anything worth having is worth fighting for.
Damn right. Damn
right. I served in the military. It was, for a lot of reasons, it was very difficult for me. Very difficult for me. But I wanted to be there. I'll never forget my last ruck march in basic training. I rolled my ankle, right? We're going up this hill, a steep hill, and it was large rocks, right? Loose rock. This was not a paved road, and we're in the woods, and, I've got full kit, 5 quarts of water. I've got, rucksack. I've got my weapon. I've got extra ammo. We are loaded down. You've got this 6-foot, oh my goodness, guy leading the charge. I'm all of 5'5". So I'm further in the back.
You got 30 seconds.
I had to run, right? I rolled my ankle so severely that the whole ankle actually made contact with the ground. I was not giving up. If you don't make it through that march, you don't graduate basic training. I was not giving up. I was not giving up. It was worth it to me to walk through that pain, suck it up, Buttercup, and graduate. And that's life. You either have the audacity to face everything, or you just lay in a little ball and wait for it to be over.
Couldn't agree more. Let's take a break. We got news coming up, and we've got weather and traffic. Tom O'Hanlon, he's in for Mark Christopher, and he's in the BPS Traffic Center. There's a TomO'Hanlon.com.
The hour that packs a punch. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
I didn't get to do this yesterday, but you know me, I have to do it. It's Hollywood news. He loves Hollywood news. Everybody loves Hollywood news.
I thought it was going to be.
No. I'm really excited about this Hollywood news, and you should too. Why? Because it has nothing to do with superhero films, Marvel films, DC films, and nothing like that, but it is in the sci-fi fantasy realm. All month in the last month or two, everybody's been talking about the big Paramount CBS buyout and the firing of Stephen Colbert and how The View might be losing there, all that other stuff. But Paramount in particular, Paramount is doing something that a lot of people should be excited for, because I was excited the first time that they did this. And I know you will as well, Rozan. Paramount, because of the new merger with Skydance, is bringing back Star Trek.
Ooh.
Yeah, so you like that. Yeah.
Do.
Well, the Star Trek that not the one we grew up with, of course, William Shatner and all of those.
Different.
Those are completely
I didn't
different.
grow up with that one.
But the new revamped one with Chris Pine, Zachary Quinto, this guy, that urban guy, I can't remember his name, but also Zoe Saldana.
Love her.
The movie?
Yeah, the movie version. Yeah, they're bringing that franchise back for another film, because the third film that they did, Beyond, really didn't do all that well. They did a Wrath of Khan,
That's
or
the
the
weird
Into
one.
the Darkness. Not Into the Darkness, or something called Into Darkness, right? Something like that. But anyway, those three have been great. In this new cast,
love them.
And J.J. Abrams sort of reintroducing Star Trek to a new, was really, really fun. I'm not going to lie. It's the most fun I had with Star Trek in a lot of years.
Can I just say multiverse as well?
Yeah. It was, but it's really,
Total
really good.
multiverse.
And the talks are that they're going to bring Star Trek back. It's going to be a priority of the new Paramount and Skydance. So those of you who love Star Trek and love the new revamping, you're going to enjoy it. So I expect that. That's Hollywood news.
I don't like Spock, though.
Yeah, nobody likes Spock. We'll get into that. Let's get back to Tom O'Hanlon with the BPS Traffic Center.
The NAACP calls him, whoa, I don't think I'm allowed to read this. It's Reese on the radio. Let's just say some people are not fans. On News Talk 1080, WTIC.
You like that, huh?
I mean, it's pretty much my review.
Yeah. Anyway, we're back. It's Reese on the radio, WTIC News Talk 1080. We've got Rozan on the radio. I wish guys wouldn't do this to me all the time. So, Donald, as we were talking a little while ago about people who have this issue with not being able to get out of the orthodoxy because of the ridicule that they may face.
The cult.
Yeah, being a part of the cult. Well, Donald, again, who I never get it. I never understand why he does, but he actually always paints himself into a corner that he can't get out of it. Then he conveniently moves on and acts like nothing happened. He actually said this at the end of our conversation. He wrote this. He said, Reese, as a black man, your political philosophy is not in the majority among the black community.
I don't think that's true. I don't think that's accurate.
But wait. But then my response to him is, which makes blacks a monolith, yes? Which is, again, their big argument.
Right.
Black
We're all
people
the same.
Right. Black people are not. No. Their argument is that black people are not a monolith. Right? That's his argument. Black people don't all think the same. We have different views.
But they all vote the same.
Yeah, exactly.
And want the same things and need the same. Okay. We're not a monolith, but we're a monolith.
Exactly. So, it's the contradiction that they don't even recognize.
Right.
And that's, you have to understand how cultism works. Right?
Listen, I've escaped the cult, so I understand.
Right.
I think I might understand better than most is how long did it take me to call myself a Republican? I've just done it, and I voted for Trump, and my mind shifted a little over a year ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I even in talking to my own family, in my own mindset, even being ashamed of myself, and that's the worst part is being ashamed of myself for having a change of mind, not a change of opinion, a change of mind. Logic stepped in, and it completely destroyed everything that I'd been told prior to. Everything I'd been told prior to was a lie. And nobody could tell me differently. I remember you and I arguing from top to bottom, left to right, and everywhere in between about how you were wrong. And the reason I started watching Donald Trump speak, like watching him live, not filtered, not somebody else's version of he said this, watching him live, my rationale for that is because I wanted to come to you and say, did you see this racist thing Trump said? Did you see that misogynistic thing Trump said? And as it turns out, I would watch Trump live. I would, with my own eyeballs and my own ears, and then go to CNN or MSNBC and hear their version and just be completely blown away. There is that is not what he said. It's not what he said. And if you're putting it in that context, you're wrong.
Let me tell you what I found interesting about that. What you're bringing up is very, very important to this discussion. And I told a lot of people, and you can ask anyone, when Donald Trump gives a speech, or anybody, Tulsi Gabbard just recently giving a speech about the declassification of the Russiagate scandal. She gave a press conference at the podium, which, by the way, every major news outlet covers, right? Except for the regular news outlets. Local ABC, NBC, and CBS don't. But the 24-hour news cycles will interrupt their programming for that. In fact, they schedule Caroline Leavitt's press briefings because it is always newsworthy. Mm-hmm. But when Tulsi Gabbard came up to give a briefing on that, a scheduled briefing of the declassified documents that she put out, CNN broke from that live broadcast to interject and to fact check it. Why are we even listening to this? What I also noticed was, and this was a tactic of many people in the news, Trump would be giving a stump speech at a rally, which again is important because you have to give equal time. Right? That's the fairness doctrine that many people in the liberal areas stand by. We need the fairness doctrine. We must give equal time to both sides. Rachel Maddow was on the air going to a speech about Donald Trump. And in the middle of hearing things talking about either the rigged 2020 election or this and that with certain people who are in office, they would cut in and they say, well, look, we're not in the business of transmitting lies.
Right.
My favorite part is that, look, we were going to cut away now. We will get back to it if he makes any news, which in my head immediately said, or important comments, which in my head says, I don't want you to see Donald Trump in his natural state.
Now, I need you to understand that from the perspective of someone who lived on liberal media since I was a child, I grew up watching the Today Show. I grew up watching Nightline. This was my realm. I didn't see the gradual shift in unfairness.
Okay.
Because this is how I grew up. This is what I grew up watching.
And you trusted those.
I trusted it. And so when that's what you're told, when you are constantly being told, listen, guys, this is unacceptable. This is racist. Some racist undertone. It was very gradual how we got to where we are. That when it came time to actually hear the truth, we were so instilled with fear. It's not the fear of hearing another perspective. It is the fear of being indoctrinated with falsities. That's the fear, is if you listen to Donald Trump speak, you're going to be indoctrinated by falsities. The devil is going to get into your ears and you're going to become possessed by demons. That's literally what they make it feel like. And if you stay on this side and only listen to us, you're going to be purified and sanctified. I liken it back to the medieval ages, right? When the Catholic Church was the only one allowed to read the Bible. Sermons were only given in Latin. Nobody spoke Latin. Nobody knew how to read and write. The people were only doing what they were told. You can't do this or you're going to die and go to hell. You can't do this, you're going to die and go. Everything was about preventing dying and going to hell, or your crops going bad, or catching diseases, or your children dying because you were sinful. That's what the modern media landscape looks like now. It is medieval Catholic Church over Europe.
But I love that. Listen, for me, I love the party or the club side of it. I love the whole turning. Everybody always says, oh, these people have their club too, and those people have their club too. I reject that in so many ways, but you know what? Yes. Do certain Republicans have a certain way in which they sort of group think? Absolutely. I reject that, and I call that out every day. On the other side, on the left, do you have to adhere to everything? No, a lot of them don't. But there is a difference between the two. And what I mean by that is that usually as a conservative, you can argue, fuss, and fight with a libertarian. You can argue, fuss, and fight with a MAGA guy who's against a Republican traditional.
And still be friends at the end.
Exactly. And just have that discussion saying, but what about, all right, but I'm curious about this. It's curiosity, if you will. But if I'm having a conversation with somebody on the left and their immediate knee-jerk reaction is, what are you, a Nazi?
Right.
What are you, a racist? It's always the worst thing you could possibly be.
Well, even before I made the full conversion over to being awake, I had to leave my old Facebook page. Like, I had to get rid of that old Facebook page because all of my black female friends had decided, and some of my children, that I'm a racist. I'm racist. I'm anti-black. I'm anti-women. I'm anti-black women.
And all the currency that you have acquired over the years in knowing these people, valueless.
It means nothing because the facts don't align with the common or the present narrative. And because I chose to educate myself and get more information from credible, peer-reviewed, long-standing documents. I mean, I went so back as to look at writings written by the friars and the monks in the 1400s that were here on this side of the world to get my historical information. And because I believe history as it was written at the time, I'm a racist.
It's interesting. That's always a dynamic. I'm going to get into that in another time because you love history in a way I've never seen it in anybody. You're crazy about it. You will watch the most boring documentaries. God, you guys, you have no idea. She will do something, and I got to say this just because I don't want to meander on about this political thing over and over. That it gets tiresome, and I don't want to.
You want to talk about the show I'm watching now?
No, but I'm just saying that I remember it was maybe a couple of weeks ago that you were watching something that it was absolutely boring, but I didn't want to say anything. Oh, it was so boring. But I didn't want to say anything. So I walked in, and you got a sense, and this is kind of keen on your part. When I walked in and I looked and I said, hey, what are you watching? And before I could say a word, you just took the remote and you just threw it at me. You just said, no, watch whatever you want. Because you knew I wasn't going to get into it. Oh, goodness. Sorry about that. I knew that you weren't going to, you knew I wasn't going to be into it.
Right.
And the hell if I was not into it at all.
Yeah.
I was like, nope. But you will watch A lot.
A really obscure thing. Like what I'm watching now is it's a group of archaeologists and scientists living in a 15th century village in Europe, very much the way they lived at that time. It's a monastic village, so everything belongs to the monastery. And I mean, it's to me, it's beautiful. I want to understand that lifestyle, because if we understand history, we're less likely to repeat the mistakes, right? But if we don't know history, we continue to repeat the same mistakes. And so for me, it's very prophetic to watch history.
I know, and I can't watch it because
I know, I do that. And you watch, I don't know what you watch.
News and sports.
Yeah.
That's it.
You're so fun.
I'm a guy.
Listen, you watch news and sports, and I watch ancient history documentaries. We are a lively couple. I mean, whoa, guys. I hope you're ready for this party crew. Because here we come.
John Beckman says, going back to the show, Reese was on for 13 years and he for 7. The host always disagrees with Trump. And in his case, in John Beckman's case on the show, if you didn't agree with him, which he didn't, he said you were called a racist by him. And again, that's usually the case. You immediately get called a racist if you don't agree with the orthodoxy, yet calling you a cult member if you're not.
Remember the last time I was on the show, I tried to educate them about why you should not be drinking your own urine, and they called me some choice names, and oh boy, I'm glad we were on the East Coast. Just for the record, people, do not drink your urine. It is highly
There
unsanitary.
is a large group of people who believe that it is beneficial.
It's disgusting. There's no science backing it up. www.drinkyourpee.com is not a credible source. It's just not.
Why would you even broadcast?
I'm just saying. I just made it up. It's not. I don't know if it's a real website. I'm just saying if you want credible evidence about.
All right,
www.
Drink.
It's R. Kelly's website. No, I'm kidding.
No,
if you
but
want
there
credible evidence about what you're going to be doing, you need to go to scientific, peer-reviewed, documented, researched websites. You can't just, this guy drinks his pee and he's having a great time with it, so we're all going to do it too. Look, I got a website.
And it was absolutely ridiculous in that particular episode.
Those people are insane.
They are crazy. They're absolutely crazy. We're going to have to take a break in a minute. We'll get to some of the details. I need to make sure that I reiterate this. So I am going to be going to the
Silver
what's it called?
Pony Horse?
No, I'm going to the Selden Cove on August 20th. Selden Cove on August 20th. I'm going to find out when they're going to be there. According to the website that I'm looking at, the Army Corps of Engineers is going to be there. And they're going to be putting in herbicides in the water. But I'm going there only in a journalistic capacity, not for any protest. So those of you who want to go down there, if you want to ask questions, or you want to just hang out with Reese on the radio while I ask questions, I will be doing it on camera. I will be talking to people to get some info. So we'll be doing that on the 20th. I do believe it's going to be about 9 o'clock in the morning. I will probably be there at 8. And then later on that evening, I'll be hanging out with Frisk the Cat and Chrissy to go see the group Silver Sun Pickups, if you can figure that out. Again, Silver Sun Pickups.
Silver Sun Pickups,
that's
not
the name
the Silver Truck Star Guys.
No.
Okay.
Silver Sun Pickups is the name of the band.
They're going to hate me.
You're going, no, you never, no one's ever going to think that you know that we're going to lie and tell the band, she loves you guys. Loves you.
Listen, my credibility, my name's all I got. So
Yeah, exactly. So you're just going to say, my wife loves your band. Really? What's her favorite song? All of them.
The one with the guitar and the guy when he sings the solo, that part. Yeah, that's my favorite.
Don't worry. I'll give you some that you can use. I'll give you some songs that you can use. I love the Silver Sun Pickups. I watch them. And the bass player is a girl who I think she's exotic. Just for the best way to describe her.
Here we go.
But she's so cute, and she plays the bass, and I think that's fantastic. A girl playing bass is hot. That's just is, and I love the bass, and that's my favorite instrument.
Yeah,
girl playing bass, like you can't beat that. It's almost as good as a girl playing drums.
Selena's sister did it.
Selena's sister played drums.
Yeah.
Yeah, you talk about her a lot.
Mexican. We're in Texas. That's.
Yeah, I still can't get it. I'm not.
Well, you and your silver pickup truck, pickup sticks. That's how I feel.
At least I can say the woman's name.
Can you, though?
Selena.
Selena Quintanilla Perez.
I can't do that.
Exactly.
But at least I can say Selena.
I got silver. We are in the same vein, buddy.
I so hate you sometimes.
You love me.
Anyway. Hey, by the way, I wanted to say this before we go to break. So I was talking about Chris, who I knew back in 2004.
Yeah,
As a friend
Army
of mine.
guy.
Yeah, apparently word gets out fast. Chris writes, wasn't listening to the show, but a good friend who was called me to say that you were talking about your good friend Chris on the air. I finally made the big time, Chris says.
Woohoo!
Chris, welcome. I love you, brother. I'll see you soon. Let's get another check of the weather and traffic. Tom O'Hanlon, go to his website, tomohanlon.com. He's in the BPS Traffic Center.
The Odyssey app lets you jump back to the moments you missed from WTIC News Talk 1080. Download the free Odyssey app, search WTIC News Talk 1080, and tap earlier today to get started.
What had happened was, earlier in the show, I broke down how the left has abandoned, if not attacked, the working class in this country. And I have an article about it coming out on Sunday on my Substack. And it will be going out to everybody. If you are already a subscriber, you can check it out. And I hope that you do check it out. It's just breaking down this suggestion that the left lost the working class, and I believe that they rejected them. They sought out to destroy the working class, and I believe that's always been the case. And I lay it out in the new article, and that's what had happened was on the program. I also got a message in my, I guess, instant messages on Facebook, and I hope everybody knows that when you send them to me, I read them because they are part of that. And I'd like to give everybody a little warning sign, okay? Conventional wisdom is bull. And when someone begins a message to me by saying, Reese, a little constructive criticism, that is the very essence of arrogance. And when you say that and your next sentence is about how I do my job, I immediately reject it. But I'm giving the person who wrote it the benefit of the doubt. So what was the constructive criticism? It's the way in which I conduct interviews and my phone calls. Adversarial ones. I can recognize somebody who wants to have a conversation. And if you've listened to this show long enough, there are plenty of people who call who have a dialogue with me when they disagree. And they are great conversations. Evan, who calls up here all the time, the doc, who calls up a lot, he and I always have an exchange of dialogue. When he disagrees with me, he's always coming in respectful, and he goes back and forth. And then there are others who call in and start off with the, you don't know what you're talking about, and blah, 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 and they browbeat right off the bat. And it's about what they wish to say or their knee-jerk reaction to something that they heard, and they are wishing or can't wait to prove Reese wrong. I've dealt with this my entire life. In my 20-something year career, I know exactly what the caller's doing the moment they open their mouth, whether or not they want dialogue or if they wish to be adversarial. No offense, sir. Keep your criticisms to yourself.
Can I just say...
Wait, no. How I got here, no disrespect, I just want to finish this.
Okay.
I got here on my own merits. I got here doing this my way. No one told me how to do this job. No one instructed me. I've created the brand that you see here. You can't then come in after I get on here and then tell me how I can make it better for you. I shut down. This is not a conversation for people to come in and bloviate on and on about their point of views when they are interviewed by me. If you say something that is absolutely inaccurate or misleading, or if you're lying to this audience, I will cut you off. I will even put you on mute so I can make sure that you are saying what you mean to say and you are not lying to this audience. That's the way it's done. If you don't like that,
get your own show.
It's the only way you can.
That's all I was going to say is get
you
your
gotta
own
get
show.
You got to get your own show. And if you want people to bloviate with you online and give them their equal time,
call the idiots all day.
Yeah, do it. Yeah, do Oh, man. Anyway, let's move on. Let's get to some weather and traffic. Tom O'Hanlon is in the BPS traffic center.
What's up, everybody? You know who it is.
You know who it is.
You know who it is. It's Reese on the radio. Frederick Douglass of the 21st century.
It's WTIC News Talk 1080.
We are back. Reese and Rozan. Can't wait to be there tomorrow. We're leaving Sunday.
Sunday.
Getting in really, really late.
Midnight, almost.
Midnight, almost. Yeah. Do you hate it when we arrive late to places?
Not really.
No, you don't?
No.
I can't stand it.
I don't like. Remember when we were flying to Sacramento and our plane, something happened and we ended up having to sleep in the airport?
Oh, never forget that.
I was so miserable.
Well, we've got quite the layover in Detroit this time.
Yeah, but it's only 5 hours and it's during,
middle of the day?
Yeah.
Do you want to go check out Detroit? I'm kidding.
Ew. I'm sorry. That was so rude.
She said ew.
But absolutely not. No. I'd like to keep my wallet.
I don't know why I just thought about that. I was like, we should at least go into the...
No. Detroit has some historic sites, though.
It does. I want to go...
Nope. No.
So we're going to stay in the airport for 5 hours?
Absolutely.
What are we going to do?
Not get mugged? Not get carjacked? I don't know. Not get shot? I can think of a number of things we cannot get done to us. Take a nap. We can, just relax.
Okay.
What we can do is we can go to one of the lounges.
Okay.
We just hang out in the lounge.
You go to USO, right?
Oh, yeah. We could go to the USO.
Yeah, that's what we'll do.
5 hours. You take a nap. They got video games. Not that I play them.
5 hour delay. Oh.
It's a layover. John Beckman says Detroit has the MGM casino, but neither of us gamble.
We don't gamble.
We don't. It's sort of like we are. We just don't. What Rozan and I.
It was my birthday before we moved here. Remember, you took me to. Wasn't Horseshoe?
I can't remember where it was. Was it all the way up in Maryland?
I think it was Maryland.
Yeah, we went to something races, Camptown races, something like that.
I don't know.
But it was one in all the way in Maryland. We drove all the way out there. We barely gambled.
We spent $100. That was it.
That was it. And we had a great dinner.
And we spent most of our money on dinner.
Dinner.
I would rather have a phenomenal fat bloody steak rather than sitting at a casino table.
That dinner between the two of us must have cost us close to $350, and we loved everybody. See, we like substantial things, right? When we go out, and that's the reason why we don't gamble, is because throwing money away and not getting anything in return.
I want to have something that I walk around with.
Exactly.
I want something to show for it.
Right.
Yeah, walk around with money in your pocket.
No, if you lose.
Check your text.
I'm not good at gambling.
It's a transactional thing for us.
I'll play a penny slot, but that's about it.
But it's the transaction is what we like.
I'm very risk averse. I think that's what prevents me from gambling is there's a potential that I give you all my money and I get nothing back from it. Yeah. Which is why I hate the mortgage, which is why I hate car loans. Like I hate all those loans because I'm giving you all this money and you're taking most of it and I get nothing back for it. So.
Yeah, exactly.
But what happens when you actually hit?
Well, when you hit is when you hit, but it's not more times than like when Rozan won a little bit of money. We were like, we're out.
Yeah.
We were.
So I went with $100. $100 was my limit. I got $300.
Yep.
And I kept my 100, my original 100, and I spent the rest of that 100. And I was like, all right, that's it. But we walked away with $300. I'm pretty sure that's how we paid for dinner.
That's exactly how we paid for dinner.
That's not terrible.
Yeah,
that was it.
But for us, it's like, and I attributed to like why I would like drinking and gambling are two vices, one of which I can get from because drinking, you get something from it. Of course, you get inebriated or you get a hangover or you get the
shiny
buzz.
cuffs.
So like there's something transactional in that.
An escort
to
the police station.
Escort to the police station. Breaking out in handcuffs. But the gambling thing is only one side. The house always wins. It just does. And
I get to walk away with shame and grief and disbelief and buyer's remorse. Those are things I don't like.
But I don't exactly. So I don't like that risk. And you're right, risk averse.
The risk that's what gets me. The rush of the risk.
But that's a young man's game. I'm too old for risk.
Yeah, I don't even listen. The whole idea that you're getting a rush from the from the gambling, like the rush of losing money or the possibility of winning money.
Mm-hmm.
That is no, and I get that. I can understand all of that. It's just that at the end, I feel
dirty.
Yeah, a little bit. Maybe that's true.
Hey, sometimes you feel devastated at the end.
That's true. Can I tell you, this is, I know I've told this story before, but this is really true. In fact, I'm almost certain I told this story 3 years ago when I first got to WTIC. And it was when one of the first $1 billion lottery prizes came out. And you know I've shared this story.
I'm thinking about that commercial where the lady asked the guy, what are you going to buy
Oh,
if
yeah,
you
yeah,
win?
yeah. And so it was, I would never play the lotto. And Mary at the time told me, no, we got to get a ticket. It's $1 billion. It's, very rare when $1 billion is at stake. We got to play. And I was like, okay, fine, whatever. Everybody's going to be playing. And I said, fine, I'll give in. And I did. Again, a guy who doesn't buy lottery tickets bought into this idea that we could win $1 billion. And what happened to me was I bought a few tickets. I bought a lot of tickets. I'm not even $100, but I bought a lot of tickets.
My goodness.
And then I got home, and I sat there with those tickets at the drawing. And something happened to me that had never happened before. You know this personally, so I'm exposing it to everybody. It was the first time in my life since I was a homeless kid I ever wanted something.
I thought that's what you were going to say.
And wants are things that I can do without. It's like wants make you desperate for things. Wants can be dangerous, in my view.
And
So
I want everything.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't ever want for anything. So that's kind of the way my mindset is.
Right.
If you don't want for it, you won't do anything to get it. And what you do is learn to be satisfied and be grateful, show gratitude. So that's the way in which I live my life. So here I am, never playing the lotto, and now I've got these tickets in front of me. And it was so wild that the moments before they read the numbers, I had already spent $82 million of it in my head. There was that moment. I had spent so much of that money, the wants and the things. I was buying a radio station. I was buying, a house that it was connected to a radio station. There were millions of dollars I was spending in my head. And then the numbers come out and I won nothing. And the shame that I had felt, not from losing.
From wanting.
It was like all of that pipe dream felt humiliating.
Yeah.
It was like you defied everything you stood for. And the degree of shame was so much. And even now, when we walk in, I always say to myself, maybe we should buy a lottery ticket. But I always just walk away and never do it because it's that feeling I don't want to have. I don't want to have that feeling.
Yeah. It's fun to fantasize. It's fun to pretend. But then when the reality sets in and you've gambled away all of your money, you know what I mean? Like, I could have bought groceries, but no, I had to have lottery tickets. What do I have to show for it? A pile of trash. And yeah.
I just don't. And again, I don't want anybody to get the impression that this is some, criticism of people who play. I get it. If you,
nope. I'll be playing my numbers tonight.
I'm just saying, I'm calling dibs on 10%.
In my head, and this is again, every problem is a me problem, right? So it's not the lottery isn't my problem. And this is something I always try to explain. A lot of people talk about politics and life as it is. Like people say, money is the root of all evil. No, dear, you are. You are the root of all evil.
Right, it's like saying guns kill people. No, it's the idiot who pulled the trigger that killed people.
Deep down, it is always about yourself. The greatest line I can remember is from Fonte of Little Brother. Still remember it, still love it. And when he said, it's a rap group. And he says, they say money changes you, but money doesn't change you. It just makes you more what you already are. And that's what it is, having that money. And it's true, having that money in your possession. If you had all the money in the world, you would only be more of the person you are.
Diddy.
Yeah, there you go. Right? You would be exploitive if you're exploitive. You would be generous if you are generous. Right? That's what money does to you. So the root of that evil or good is always within you. And when I look at that money, I say to myself, what would I do? I'd never forget this. This is very, very true. In that $1 billion scenario, you know what I did in my head when I was spending that money? I had only given my siblings $100,000. But yet I was sitting on billions, on $1 billion, and I was saying, I'd give them
Let's
$100,000.
be honest. What would some of your siblings do with $100,000? So
okay.
you may actually be being responsible in.
That's true.
In that,
two of them would probably burn it. Two of them, and both of them would be my sisters. Would burn it. My brothers,
different
on the
story.
other hand,
Their wives would burn it.
well, no. My
Kidding.
brother Charles and Briggs Charles would buy a new house for his wife. I know he would immediately, and he would take her to a Beyonce concert because that's a big thing for her. It is. My brother Briggs, on the other hand, immediately would pay off debt, and he would put all of the money into the kids' college.
Absolutely.
That's what he would do immediately. And then he would probably buy the most modest house ever, and the most luxurious thing he would buy is maybe an Acura. And that's my brother. He is the most responsible out of all of us, and he's the baby. And he's the one I practically raised, but he would be the best with money.
What's the first thing I always say I would do if I want a large amount of money?
You would buy a planet.
No, honestly, what's the first thing I always say I would do?
Pay off debt.
That's like the number one thing is I just want to pay off all my debt and invest and just live off the residuals. And God, I would spend 6 weeks in Thailand at some sort of spa.
Yeah, I don't want to have to travel.
We've already discussed this. You don't have to go anywhere. I would hire a gay boyfriend to go with me to carry all the heavy stuff. You wouldn't have to worry.
Can you tell everybody who you're
His name is Rogelio, and he's Filipino, and he's got a phenomenal body, but he's totally into Reese and not me.
She is.
So if you know this guy, someone please send him to my house because I need this guy in my life.
So to tell you a great story about that, when I owned the U-Haul, a customer came in, and of course you have to take their ID before they rent a U-Haul, and a guy named Rogelio actually rented a truck. Do you want to know the first thing I said to him?
You asked him if he was gay.
I asked him if he was gay. I said, "Are you gay?" And he went, "What?" I went, "Nothing. Never mind."
I don't know if you're allowed to ask that anymore.
Nah, I don't think you are.
You're supposed to ask the pronouns. That's the safe way to ask.
I don't even think. I just think you kind of figure it out by talking to him.
You just put your hand on his shoulder and see what happens. I don't know.
Well, the reason why I asked, he looked at me and went, "What?" And then I told him this story, and he thought it was funny.
What's the guy names from Beverly Hills Cop? Serge.
Yes, Serge. That guy, you can tell. You can see that guy a mile away.
That's the guy you need.
And so, in my mind, he's more like from the Birdcage.
Yeah, the Birdcage. Hank Azaria's character from the Birdcage is her perfect houseboy.
Oh my God, I love it.
She refers to him as a houseboy too.
He is a houseboy.
Yeah, exactly. And he is the one that. What does he do? He brings you coffee.
He brings me coffee, he flirts with you, makes you uncomfortable, and then he and I go shopping and take cruises and all the things you don't want to do, I get to do with Rogelio.
Why do I have to be made to feel uncomfortable?
Because it's fun for me. I mean, this is my fantasy. What are we talking about here?
Exactly. And I will admit, I think it's probably the best fantasy that I've ever heard from any individual that I was married to. It's actually not bad. John Beckman says, Rozan, guess how much a client of mine lost in one day here in Las Vegas?
Oh, my gosh.
I don't think you want to know this.
I do.
No way. If this is true,
are they still single? I'm just kidding. What? It was a joke. It was totally a joke.
No, it wasn't. Do you want to know how much it was?
Yeah, how much?
$8.5 million.
Good grief.
That's a friend of yours?
You know what kind of house I could have bought with that?
Yeah, aren't you?
Yeah, they had it to lose, though.
Yeah, they had it to lose.
That's what I'm saying. Is he single? I mean, I've got a couple of cousins. I'm just saying.
This is the reason why we have to have friends like John Beckman.
Right.
Yes.
Friends in low places are great, but I want to be where the white folks are.
Exactly. That's where we need to be.
Yeah.
You just ticked off every one of my black listener.
All your black listener? The whole
my black
listener. Well, I mean,
I have less black listeners than the WNBA. That's for the fan to decide. Nothing. That's just an old Family Guy joke.
I don't know what to say to this.
Never mind.
Sorry, black listener.
It's time for us to get up out of here.
Get
We
you
will
some
see
white
you guys
friends.
on Monday. Make sure that you are there. There will not be any video, unfortunately, of the show, so you won't be able to see it online. As I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC in your hearts and in your minds. Sean Patrick, we love you and we miss you. Remember that panic is not planning, so plan your work and work your plan. Me, I'm Reese on the radio. She is Rozan on the radio. Say goodbye, Rozan.
Goodbye, Rozan.
We love you guys. Be good to each other, and we'll see you on Monday. Holla. Tom
I'm
O'Hanlon.
Tom O'Hanlon from the DPS Lawyers Traffic Center.
Supposed to end on the holler.
Up at 84 eastbound at West Hartford, that accident that happened.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, sir.
The left lane
I'll see y'all
back up there.
Yep.
Monday. Was it Monday morning?
Yeah, I'll be there Monday morning. I got a meeting with.
looks a lot better from
blah, blah, blah,
Route 2
with
across the
Janine.
river and into Hartford.
I'll be there roughly about
this
9.
bridge is good too.
Oh, damn, you gonna be here all day?
Yeah,
Of course, if a
I'll
collision
leave
near
for a little
Jennings
while.
Road,
likes
it's a
it.
busy
Don't let him
ride
lie
as
to
you- One's okay.
I'll see you at like 11:30.
You got it,
Right up into
See you
Wilbur
then.
Cross.
Peace.
Cross at Route 3 are moving.
All right, everybody. Unfortunately, there will not be any video for the show. Raymond says, hell, I'll live anywhere where the white folks are. He says, hell, I never lived with the where the white folks are. Join us. This is our last one, at least for the week, and then we'll be back the week after. Unfortunately, there won't be any way for you to watch the show. And it sucks, I know. We're going to figure out how to do the show or to broadcast the show on video when we get to the studio. But that's going to come very, very soon. But I appreciate you guys riding with me. I'll miss you guys over the weekend, but I can't wait to get into town on Monday to see all of you. And we'll let everybody know where we're going to be.
And before we close, if you're interested in seeing Reese and Rozan not on the radio but doing our own podcast, hit up Reese. What is it? ReeseOnTheRadio.com?
Yes, that's exactly it.
I'll get it together one of these days. We've only been married, But if you're interested, let us know. Let me know. I'm kind of trying to poke him in the ribs.
We're going to do it, okay? We will. I promise you we will. All right. I love you guys. Be good to each other. See you Monday. Monday.
Munya.
Munya.